Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Please delete as applicable because the internet is worldwide and time zones are indeed a thing. Can I get a wee audio check in the chat, please? And with no further ado, I'll introduce my two guests for this evening. Co-host, Mr. Sensum Communem. What about you, chum?
Hello, mate. How's it going?
Going good. How's yourself?
Yeah, no bother. Yeah, I was expecting a bit of a raw deal of a drive up because I thought, because there's been a load of places that have still been off this week, and I thought, it's probably going to be bad traffic unless people are waiting out for the last dregs and come back on a Sunday. But it was, it was all right. It was okay. A decent trip, yeah.
Yeah, so it's always good to have unexpectedly easy traffic. Mr. Mac, what about you, chum?
Oh, just finding the mute button there. I was just trying to reply to Budgie Berg, and he caught me off guard there. All good, mate. Yeah, and hi to everyone in the chat. Just before Ali C went to bed, she said, "Try not to shout tonight." So if it is my mic level okay, so I've got to try and speak quietly.
Yeah.
Apparently, I've been shouting sometimes, and I can't believe that because that's not really like me. But there you
go. That is preposterous.
Exactly. You tell her. You tell her that in the chat.
You're in a music studio. It has soundproofing and everything. How could she? You're not unless you had you bugged.
No. I'm downstairs in Studio B, the dining room, as she calls it.
All right.
Rather than up in the studio.
Yeah, but no, I definitely don't think you get excited enough for to be disturbing people, even on an actual.
Well, that's it. And you know what? Unfortunately, I don't have any poop stories for tonight either. I didn't have time to look for any. I mean, I could probably have a quick look on the internet now and find something utterly ridiculous and repulsive that'll go well with tonight's stream. But yeah, I just haven't had time. It's been crazy.
I think tonight's going to be a little bit of a hodgepodge because I've a couple of things that I have from ages ago that we haven't spoke about. So I don't know. I don't know what Sensum's got. Sensum, have you got something good for us?
I've got a couple of moaning news stories, but then I've got a sort of a nice story about men's well-being. Which is a good one. So that I'll chuck that in at the end. That would be a nice story to put in. And even better, you get a twofer. You're getting a twofer here because it's also a golf story. So there you go.
Is Curry involved?
What do you mean? Oh no.
To be totally honest with you, I like the golf stories.
Yeah,
Curry and golf night.
Loves them.
The other thing is, the stories of an unexpected part of working class England. It's not what whenever you think about working class England, or at least for me personally, I have visions of the cobbled streets, the terraced houses, the everything all being very closed in, and people on top living hand and glove. And to have it, there's also this other bit of that where people are out in expansive bits of land and enjoying themselves and doing their thing. I like that juxtaposition as much as anything else, and the places that you find to play.
Okay. And also, are we going to have a chance to talk about this absolute freak who's now in charge of the WEF?
Yes. To be totally honest with you, I know very little.
No, I can't pronounce his name.
Yeah, I know very little about him. All I know is that. No, I don't want to speak about it.
Sorry, mate. I'm sorry, 42. I'm telling you now, right? That fella, he's just a caretaker. He's just been shoved in temporarily because we all know Blair's heading for that fucking role.
Yeah. Yeah, without a doubt.
Oh,
Oh, Brad James, by the way, yeah, I love your work, mate. I've got your bit up on the project, so nice one, mate. Yeah, sorry, 42 carry.
yeah. And Blur. See, it postponed by a minute. Blur's an absolute cunt, same as this person. Uh, but yeah, Blur's going to end up in there, and there's none of it going to get any better. And what we have
So
to, yeah,
he's been pushing through the digital IDs again, hasn't he? I mean, he's wanted this ID thing, national ID thing, since '97 before he
Over 20 years, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it looks like now. I don't know how he still has the influence, but he seems to. And he's talked to everybody into this digital ID, which would tie everything up with a digital currency and everything else. So we know what's coming. Probably don't even need to talk about that again. We can only resist it. But yeah, I mean, that guy he's some freak, and they're just. I'm sort of quite often wondered, especially with Klaus Schwab, that they're so ridiculous. Are we getting our knickers in a twist over? We're deliberately, they're deliberately putting something out there for us to get excited about. But but totally got the wrong idea, and
the
it's a complete diversion.
the problem is why they are a lot of what they do is diversion. But here's how it works. It's people wonder why Ulster Unionist parties go to the St. Patrick's Day festival in New York, because obviously they ain't really interested in St. Patrick, and they're not interested in all the Irish nationalists that are there. But whenever you arrive at that day for St. Patrick's Day, everybody that is dealing with anything to do with Ireland is at those events and in those meetings, and that's where you're able to talk to people off the record, because you bumped into them at this event, that event, or the other event. Now, while the WEF do put out some batshit crazy stuff, and I think a lot of that is because they're hoping that in 10, 15 years it'll not seem just quite so crazy, and some of it will get accepted, and they push out their very maddest stuff. But what you also have there is all the world leaders going to the same place at the same time, and they can all talk to each other, and they can do it off the record, and they can set their alliances up, and they can fiddle their books and make decisions, so that and also get the agreements whenever stuff comes to their own independent parliaments. We're all going to push for A, B, and C, and lo and behold, that's what comes through. And it's
I think you're right there. And if they didn't want us to find out about certain things that we that do come out in the media to some degree, they wouldn't let it. It'd all be closed shop stuff. But when they're up on the forum, up on the stage, and they're talking about these sort of crazy one world government ideas, some of it I know they're floating out there, but some of it is, like you say, it's they're just putting it out to see, one distraction, another to see how far some of these ideas will go, and see how much backlash there is. But I think Anglo's made a good point there. He's written 42 got Klaus sacked with "I'm not eating your bugs." I would love to think that was true. I would absolutely love that.
Yeah. Yes, I would hope I played some small part in that. Hey, Klaus, this is 42. I'm on a review, motherfucker. Yes, but Paca, I sent you a link, mate. We're going to need to do a substitution at some point and sub out Al Mac for Paca, hopefully, because Our Mac has been a very, very, very busy boy. He's got all sorts of work to do in the morning. He's got work in the morning, so we can't be keeping him out of bed too late.
All that I will say is about
Hi, Emma
Davos.
G. Sorry, Sensum.
No, mate, sorry. All I will say about when they do the Davos meeting in February each year, and you've got like sort of the so-called cream of world politics and, you know, the likes of Larry Fink and all these institutional bankers, etc., all there sort of with their faces in the trough. There's in something, I think it's something ridiculous, but like a 400-mile radius, or you know, it's the time when there's the most ladies of the evening, shall we say, in any one place in Switzerland that day.
Yeah,
So I think there's
I've heard
women
that.
from like 400-mile radius. You know, the so-called high-class ladies of the evening. You know, if you happen to be happen to be in that region in February, but you're not actually there as one of these, demons, and you're fancying a bit of the other, you've got no chance because they're all in Davos. And yet this is the so-called, you
Yeah.
need to look up to us. We are the political cream. We are the standards. And it's like, no, you're just scumbags, all of you. Absolute scumbags.
Oh, and while we're talking about the changing of the guard in Davos, Klaus Schwab is not the only world dictator to step down recently. Yes, we currently have a vacancy in Vatican City, and
Well,
just-
but we know who is taking his place, don't we? Someone from England.
well,
From a picture I sent last.
I don't really care, but listen in. Cheers. That's my evening beer that I'm drinking as a toast until they elect a new one, while there is indeed no Pope in Rome.
Yeah.
Well, up the pontiff.
Yeah.
I've got it on good authority that when he got upstairs, Peter was there to meet him, and he says, Frankie boy, come here, need to have a quick word with you. Yeah, you know all that good work you've been doing in the name of Christianity. Yeah. Well, I'm not going to brush it up for you, but the boss, he's not too pleased, with all of your promotion of all these bloody fringe groups and deviants and that. So
Pope
the
woke.
Holy Ghost, the Son and the Holy Ghost have had a bit of a chinwag with Lucifer, and he says he'll take you, which is only fitting, seeing how you've been doing his work since you got in power. So take your little red slippers and the escalator's over there, matey boy. Oh, and he did, and Peter did say this as he was going down the escalator. He says, "Oh, and by the way, Pope John Paul II says you're a cunt." So there you go.
Yeah,
there's so many great memes around, isn't there? There's like the one with Jimmy Savile coming down the stairs from heaven to greet the Pope to bring him up there, sort of Diddler's Alliance. Oh, Jesus.
The interesting one was that he went on Easter Monday, and the Apprentice Boys at Derry were out for their annual Easter walk, and so there was plenty of parties going on after that, and people were complaining that we were mocking the Pope because he died, and we're like, no, dickhead, we'll mock him every year while he's alive or dead. So could you please knock that out of your head?
Yeah.
And they'll elect another one, and we'll have a new dictator in about another 10 days or however long it is. But enjoy.
Do you think that David Lammy now knows that when they that burn the or sort of release the black or the white smoke, it isn't to determine whether it's a black or white Pope? I think that was him, wasn't it, that thought that, and someone had to put it straight. He thought this is ridiculous that they have to release smoke of the colour of the new Pope.
Yeah. See,
Really
I thought that smoke colour changed because it's got these boots or something.
Because you got what? Sorry.
Whenever they were burning them, they got his boots, and that started the black smoke. Oh,
Could
fuck.
be. Yeah,
I
you're
don't
right.
know. They start off, there's a pope, then there's not a pope, then there's some smoke comes out, and then there's a new pope. Why am I not?
It's a miracle. It's a
Yeah.
miracle. 42. That's all you need to know.
Well, are you sure they're not just burning them?
No, because we all know when there's a new one elected, it's Golden Virginia rather than Old Holborn.
Yes.
Or Old Heartburn, as we used to call it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I
Good
did
old
watch, and it was a good film. I have to say, it was a good film. I did watch that Conclave film with Ray Fiennes in it. That was all right. That it was a decent sort of mystery sort of thing, and that was set in the Vatican. Good performances by Ray Fiennes, Stanley Tucci, and John Lithgow. They were all three characters were brilliant in it.
I'm not sure if I remember that, but the only sort of Vatican City. Remember was it called? Angels, the Dan Brown one, Angels and Demons. That's it. Yeah, with the Carmelengo was. Yeah, it was a bit of a
those books are
convoluted.
Yeah, I've read all of the Dan Brown books. The one that he did called The Last Symbol was really good. That was
I read that.
Enjoyed that.
Yeah, he's all right, really.
They even mention about the Palmarian Church, which fascinates me because there was a split in the sort of Catholic Church between the Palmarians, which were literally, I think they're still under Franco rule at the time, or he just hadn't quite popped his clogs, or just had popped his clogs, and they said, we don't agree with the way that the Vatican's going with all of this crap because. The next thing will be, the Rainbow Coalition, and that'll all be creeping in, and all the progressivism and that, and they were dead against it, so they split. So the Palmarian and the actual sort of the Palmarian Church itself, the cathedral or wherever it is, which is in Spain, is an absolutely stunning building. It's very, very different, but it's. Yeah, so it's stunning, and obviously the truth of Wikipedia saying, these hateful creatures of the Palmarian Church, all the vitriol and shit written by a Forby anyway, so the usual propagandist bullshit, and the reality is, they just wanted to stick to the ethos of the Catholic, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Do you know where that is?
Yeah.
That's the Snake Room, Vatican City, apparently.
Yeah, that is the Snake Room in Vatican City. See those two fangs in the middle?
No, it says it just above.
Yeah, he comes out and gives his talk from in there.
Yeah.
Lovely place.
That's amazing. Well, we might be going. Ali's always wanted to go to Rome. And we probably won't be allowed in that building. I'm not sure that we're going though, but that was one of the places we're talking about going this year because she wants. Yeah, she's never been to Vatican or Rome or whatever.
It would be absolutely beautiful to see.
Yeah,
even a proddy doddy like me doesn't think that you get contaminated for going on and looking at the architecture. You're safe.
No.
Safe there.
Yeah, that's right. And Ali's only half and half anyway, so she'll half enjoy it. But it's I've never heard of that No, I don't know much about that Palmarian Church. It's quite interesting. I have to look into that. I don't know much about them at all. I've heard the name, but I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah, if you like Dan Brown's books, or I don't know if you've seen or just the films, they haven't made a film.
No, I've read about four books. Yeah, starting with the Da Vinci Code, obviously, because there was such a hoo-ha about it when it came out, and in fact, I read about 3 or 4 books about the book before I read the book. There was, it was just great marketing, wasn't it? Just everyone was on that, sort of debunking it. It was a whole cottage industry, wasn't it?
The I
the,
just
the,
want to
the,
I just want to pick up on this. That snake thing with medicine predates the World Health Organization. Uh, I think that the Vatican snake thing and the medical snake thing is two different things. And the World Health Organization, yeah, they do have that snake, but it was common to medicines and whatever. I don't know the whole background of it, but it predates that those fuckers in the World Health Organization who have no interest in your health whatsoever.
yeah,
Uh, fucking should be the
It
world
is.
should be the World Law and Healthy Organization.
I'll tell you what,
Mm,
I don't know if you saw it, but there's been a few bloody rumblings, hasn't there, about the old, the secret sauce makers. Um, the the nurse, the chief nurse himself, I'll never forgive him.
Yeah,
no,
Nurse Dr. John Campbell.
John
He
Campbell,
come
yeah,
out and
you're his biggest fan, aren't you?
no, I'll never forgive him. I'll never forgive him. You know, it's good of him to have changed his tune and to have retracted all of. I'll never. Me and William are of the same opinion. If there's other lengths of rope being handed out, um, you know,
Mm.
will
Well,
I
I'll tell you
find it
what,
in my heart?
no, since I'll tell you what, because I've heard you talk about him a lot, and I didn't know because when he got on my radar was when he was making his little YouTube videos
Mhm.
debunking everything, and so I didn't know that he'd been instrumental in the lockdowns and the source and all that, the secret source.
Well,
And I didn't realise. I only become aware of him when he sort of changed to the other side.
well, that was the thing, you see, because it was March of obviously March of 2020, and he came on my radar sort of shortly towards the end of March when he was doing his little daily statistics and his little daily death reports and all of this crap. Um, and then in 2021, he was bigging up the secret source and how wonderful it was. What such a great invention, blah, 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 blah. And he pushed that until August of 2021. So he had a good 8 months of sort of telling various people, get yourself a bit of that secret sauce. It's going to be the bollocks, yeah? And then in August, when the receipts started to come in, when you had like BBC reporters, perfectly fit and healthy 40-year-old BBC reporters who used to do bloody marathon runs on it, just keeled over, and different other ones coming back with, catastrophic reaction, shall we say, to the secret source. He came on one day, and because the one thing I will say to him is, he used to present the statistics that were given by the government, which obviously, you have to take a lot of those with a pinch of salt. But he just presented them, and he also then presented the statistics on, the secret sources not necessarily so safe and effective, blah blah blah. But it was in August, and I remember it distinctly. Because it literally was. And if you go back in his timeline, because I think all the videos are still up there, I don't think he's had the bloody brass neck to get rid of them all. But on that particular episode where he changes his tune, he spent 8 months pushing this shit on people, yeah, and recommend or saying blah 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 for these different people and all that malarkey, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's your decision what you do. I mean, obviously there were some places and countries and jobs where they said, "Oh well, if you don't, we'll sack you." And now they're being held to account for a different, in legal disputes and that now, and I hope they get the fucking book thrown at them. But he was on that particular day, and I remember it distinctly because I used to follow him because I used to fucking hate him. But he was good material for me to piss take on when I used to do my own videos. And he literally was like, after 8 months of he goes, yes, so yes, we got. He said, I'd just like to say, sorry about that. Anyway, today's video, I'm like, you fucking cunt, you absolute fucking cunt. You've spent 8 months. Now, obviously, everybody's an individual, they make their own decisions. But if you're an influencer and you've been pushing this shit, even on folk who didn't need it, you know, perfectly
and a medical
healthy,
professional,
20-year-olds and that, yeah? You know, if you're in your dotage and you're a bit wheezy, you know, it did, in fairness, it did provide a minute amount of protection for a small amount of time. But it wasn't just that. He was like sort of saying, oh, and it's really good now because they've lifted the bar on people under 30 getting. I'm like, no, why would
that's
you've got the
disgraceful.
statistics, John. You know, the average age of expiration, shall we say, is 2 years older than the average lifespan anyway.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about, you daft... Anyway, so I'll never forgive him for that. Well, one of his latest videos, he comes out and proves that the latest influenza secret sauce has a minus, get this, a minus 26% effective rate, yeah?
Jesus Christ.
Now,
do you know what? I've taken... Oh, sorry, Karen, I'll wait till you finish. Go on.
Well, that's this question. How can some... I mean, you know, they must have hit the high bar with the COVID secret sauce's actual effective rate of around 0, yeah? So that must have been the high bar. This flu one, minus 26%. Why is it negative? Oh, because they found that it's giving people the very thing it's supposed to be protecting them from. So they're giving people, perfectly healthy people, a bit of this new magic, newfangled, best ever in the world secret sauce, and they've been off for a fortnight with raging fucking influenza.
Well, look, I mean, I used to I had the flu jab for about 20 years. And I do remember on a few occasions after having it that I would feel a bit rough for a couple of days, a bit achy and whatnot. You know, it's sort of very mild flu symptoms. But since all this business with the coof, I won't even have that. I won't have it because I'm worried that they're putting you know, coof juice in with the flu vaccine. There's talk about, you know, doing doubling them up anyway, and I don't know that they haven't just done that.
Here's this problem. On this one, they have been caught out. How long have they been doing this bullshit? Because what has happened here is we have found out that the medical profession has got 0 fucking ethics. And we should have known that.
You should have known that. Correct.
Yeah, well, here's how simple this is. Whenever you get a doctor that cannot tell you by observation whether a child's male or female, you have lost all semblance of empirical decisions. Now, while we're seeing that at the far extent of that with transgenderism and Tavistock Clinic and all that, how far does that go back into the medical system? Because if whether someone is male or female is malleable, whether or not, and if the definitions of male, female, boy, girl, gender is malleable, then why is vaccination not malleable? And why are you then not able to change that definition in order to fit whatever it is you want to purvey? And if it's true with that, why are cancer swabs not malleable and changeable? And at what point do we make a decision where everything has to be exactly and scientifically? And I think that is at the very outside edge of fucking everything. Once you come inside this medical procedure facility, everything has to be under medical intelligence. And if it's not under medical intelligence, it doesn't belong here. but we have taken that away, and then we're surprised that we have things like what happened with vaccinations. But the other thing is, it takes quite a while for that level of self-denial to go right through, particularly a healthcare system. So how long has this been going on for?
Yeah, it's like,
Well,
you know. Well, you
I had
go on,
all I
Sensum.
had all of mine. I had all of mine because I was born. I was sort of born at the start of the 70s, so I had all of mine, like what was
Yep.
going at the time. But the thing is, they didn't really start fiddling with them until the early 80s. Now, I don't know about you lads. I mean, I dare to know how old you are, Al. You're probably a good lump younger than me, but I
No, I'm
reckon
older
you're
than
the
you. No, I'm older than you.
no.
Yeah, seriously.
Uh,
All right.
Seriously. I'm,
You know,
I'm
you had an
60.
easy fucking paper round, didn't you, you fucker?
I am, yeah, I've not long turned 60.
by the way, I didn't mean how long I've been doing this with the vaccinations. I meant how long has fact and fiction been perfectly allowable inside the health system?
Yeah, well, all the time, all the time.
Yeah.
Just look at how they try to gaslight the poor women who had the thalidomide kids.
Yes.
It took them 10 years to admit that they did harm to those children. I mean, we're only what, 4 years after? Well, no, 3 years since the old sniffly sniffle, and they're still pushing the secret source
They are.
fucking year.
They are.
So we
I've
still
got.
don't know. But one thing I will say, which was a big story today, there's this other bloke, another professor, human sciences, like, you know, bloody medical professional, and he's been taking samples from people, you know, different age groups, and across all age groups, who did and who did not get the secret source, and it was on the. I could probably find the video. It's on the Telegram feed. I mean, obviously, you played it on YouTube, you get
Yeah.
banned straight away, so I won't do that. But what I will say is, they identified that in men, basically, their nuts are full of the stuff. I mean, it's absolutely in
Really?
some instances, yeah. Well, I mean, they had an 85-year-old bloke. Now, he's probably not Charlie Chaplin, so he might not be fathering a kid in his 80s. Do you know what I mean? But, you know, I mean, we all know that De Niro and Pacino have had kids into that age. But this guy, the bloke was saying, he goes, it's like, he said, he said, yeah, 85. You know, there's a great diminishment, but we'd expect to see some. He said, there's not, and this is a bloke who had 3 or 4 kids during his marriage and everything. And he goes, yeah, there's not a one there, but it is absolutely riddled
What
with
the
with the
fuck?
fucking. It's absolutely riddled with the bloody.
I don't know what the fuck happened there.
You just it's StreamYard, mate. I had this exact problem on last Saturday. Me and
Oh,
Toffee.
for fuck's sake.
Well, you're back now. 42, you can hear me. You're back now.
Yeah.
Yeah, good morning, Courage is Secure. Lovely to see you.
It's just the display window in the little underneath the main window. You can see 4 boxes. There you go. So you've got an array of what you can display.
Yeah.
But it's just a bag of shit now, isn't it? It's just fucking shit. I preferred it when it was like, you know, if you had more than one person, you all like had 2 boxes in the top and then one in the middle. If another person joined, you got a 4. Then if another person joined, you had a 3 and a 2. Now it's just I had a right royal time. And the other thing that StreamYard's done, I always added the videos that I was going to play in order.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
set up the stream and everything, and I put the videos in an alignment. So, right, that's going to be video 1, that's going to be video 2, that's going to be video 3. And I knew exactly where they were because obviously one of them's the intro video.
Yeah.
And when after I played the intro video and stopped that, and then me and Toffee had a bit of a chin on, a bit of a waffle, and William came on sort of a little bit into the stream. I thought, right, now this is the next video. And I clicked on it, and it was the bloody it started to play the intro stream. Why are you doing that? And it's because it had shuffled it along one. So it's basically saying, oh, I see what you've done here. So, you've played that one now. So what we can do is we can demote that one, and that's the next one ready for you. There you go, Spy. No, just leave it the fuck alone. I know what fucking order they're in. You just leave it the fuck alone. I want the Gen fucking X setting that says leave everything the fuck alone. And no, I don't want to know about all of your newfangled blips and blops and blaps. Leave it the fuck alone. I'm more than capable of working with Mark 1 StreamYard, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't care if you've got a Mark 10 version. I'm more than happy with this world rally beating Mark 1 Escort. I don't need this fucking piece of shit.
I've figured out how to do all the stuff that I need to do. Just leave it the fuck alone.
Yeah.
Why is it that upgrades always really downgrades? It's just crazy, isn't it?
Honest to God, mate, I'm not telling you a word of a lie here, Al. This is the God's honest truth. My local
It's because of engineers.
My local Asda, it's the shop I go to. I at least 9 times out of 10, I'm calling in at Asda at some point when I do me shop of the week. And this week, and they've got a pharmacy that's put in there, yeah. And I was walking past, and I had a little fucking chuckle to myself because I was walking past there was a sign where the pharmacy was. There was like a handwritten sign on an A3 bit of paper that said, due to system upgrades, prescriptions might take slightly longer. Because, well, that's not a fucking upgrade, is it? That's a downgrade.
Christ.
Fucking idiots. You know what I mean? It's like nobody because they're always trying to add more shit that you don't fucking need, and everything now is designed to catch your attention. So they are fucking attention thieves, because you could be quite happily just studying something or watching something. The next thing will be like this little blip thing that's like flashing and pulsing and doing some shit just to take, because your eyes, when you think you look. The way that the eye works is you think that you're looking at a single image, but in actuality, when they film what the eyes are doing, it's dodging all over the place. It's scanning everywhere. It's imperceptible, but you can see where the eye's concentrating on. But the brain is sort of making that image one still image, and you think, oh, I'm concentrating on this image. But subconsciously, your eyes are sort of working around the areas and that, so they can pick up on shit. Because this is I'm really concentrating on cooking this bit of fucking Brontosaurus Rex here, or whatever the fuck it is. But then it catches it like, oh, fuck me, there's a saber-toothed tiger. I better sort of exit stage left right now. So our DNA and the way that our eyes work is to detect movement. And weird things. So they've got these little blips flashing and, oh, this fucking bullshit. And it's like, look at me, I'm new, do this, do that. Like the latest one, the one that's really fucking pissing me off. I use Windows 10. I'm not going to 11, but unless, obviously, you get forced to. But I'm on Windows 10. And Windows 10, you power it up, it goes to the main screen, and they used to present you, some lovely images. Sometimes they were shit, but a lot of times you're like, oh. And it used to say, you look at this now if you're using Windows 10, after it was rested on the startup screen for a few seconds, you go, oh, that's an interesting picture. I wonder where that is. Just out of interest, right? And you're waiting for it. So the little info bar, and you'll go, it'll say, oh, the Patagonian desert, or some place in China that literally looks like the fucking cloud planet in Avatar. Oh, that's interesting. Where's that? But it used to say, I like this, or I don't like this. And I used to say, oh, yeah, because it said, if you click on like this, we'll show you more of this kind of shit. And I do like this, actually. That's really nice. Now, and I accidentally clicked on it once, and I thought, what the fuck? And the next time, I sort of, because I thought I must have clicked on the wrong thing, because before, there used to be a little lozenge in the middle of the screen that said, this place is famous for blah, 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 blah. and it was a hyperlink. And if you clicked on the middle thing, it would take it would immediately open up Microsoft Edge, which is the worst browser in the world, and tell you a little bit about this fucking place if it could manage to get that right, which 9 times out of 10 it can't. So now, and you used to be able to have like say, yeah, I like this. No, I don't like this. So yeah, I like that. And then I sort of, it clears your login, and boom, here's a picture of that thing you were just looking at. So I don't fucking ask you to do that, you cunt. What the fuck is this? You fucker. So the next time, I thought, yeah, I'll just have a watch of that. So I did it again. Now it's, are you interested or not interested? And because you're saying, yeah, I'm interested, it thinks it's obliged to now automatically open up Edge on that page and like, look at me, attention to me. I want to track more fucking information about. No, fuck off. So now I've stopped even clicking on that because fuck you, you absolute twats.
You are right. I mean, Microsoft Edge, by the way, is by far the worst browser. But I have to say, because I recently had to get a new machine for my for the studio, and that's on Windows 11. And this laptop I'm using right now downstairs is also Windows 11. I'm not a big fan. I don't like Apple stuff anyway, but I have to say, this operating system on both of these has been brilliant. There's no messing about. It starts up in seconds. But I say that now. I don't know shit about Windows and that kind of thing really. I only use the software that I use for recording and stuff. But whether the machines are just better now, but I do remember having Vista and stuff like that was a nightmare. I remember Millennium, Windows Millennium and stuff like that. They were just, crasheroonie, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I need a new MacBook. This one is coming to I don't know. We'll probably do if I didn't want to make videos and stuff, but it's reaching its level where the software and stuff for doing anything creative is beyond it. Need to get a new one of them. But I find for what I do, I find Apple very good for that. Plus, it's now got 10 years of all my fucking stuff on its cloud, so I'm stuck with that pretty much.
I mean, in fairness, Windows have only ever produced 3 truly excellent home use operating systems and 1 business one. So the one that they actually produced was when they did. So Windows 3 came out and it was fucking horrendous. I mean, it was as buggy as anything. And then they brought out this one, which was Windows 3.11 for work groups, which basically had basic networking capability. Windows 3.11 was brilliant. I didn't even bother with 95. I went straight to 98 because fucking 95 was an absolute tragedy. And then I went upgraded to 98, and 98 was just as shit. But what they call 98 second edition, which was basically 98 that actually works, that was a brilliant operating system. And then after that, I think it was Service Pack 2 or something on Windows XP. And I used Windows XP from sort of early 2000s right the way through till about sort of 2015. It was probably their best fucking operating system ever. And on a business side, when they brought out Windows NT, it's a good story actually, because there was a company called Digital Equipment Corporation, DEC, they used to be called, and they had an operating system called VAX, which was a virtual memory system. And the guys who worked on the DEC VAX operating system basically wrote Windows NT. It was fuck all to do with Microsoft or the idiot wanker Bill Gates. That's probably why it was actually half decent. I used to work on Well, I used to use, because I'm going back to fucking Babbage 2 machines. I used to actually work on Deck Vax and Deck Ultrix boxes back in the
Oh,
day. Yeah.
I've got a question on technology and all that sort of stuff. How many
I'm
of
no good
you?
at it now.
How many of you are old enough to remember whenever you had one phone that was connected to a cable in your hall, and whenever you answered it, the first thing you did was recite your own number. And this is not the number I had, but you went, hello, 23564. And then people would know whether or not they've got the right person. Who can remember that?
Yep,
Yeah.
I had a phone with 3 numbers. Somewhere where I lived when I was a kid.
All right,
An area
Packer.
If
with
it
3
only had
numbers.
three
Hello.
numbers, if it was only 3 numbers, that must have been back in the days of Bakelite when you used to Enfield 123.
Yeah.
Oh, you
no,
mean you had 3 individual, like 3 sets of numbers? Sorry, I thought.
no. I'll tell you what
Enfield
we did. We
123.
did have. That's it. I'll tell you what we did have. We did have a party line with our next door neighbours, the
Oh, yeah.
Martins. So you got quite often you'd pick the phone up and they'd be talking, but you knew that they knew that you'd pick the phone up because you hear the click, so you just quickly put the phone down, so you couldn't listen in on anything, and that was like just quite normal, when phones first started. That was like acceptable. Like the sort of breach of data and stuff like that is it's unbelievable to think we had that.
The number was Surfleet 257, by the way. Which is only because Surfleet was the arse of nowhere and there was not that many houses, let alone phones.
Yeah. And if you wanted to phone somebody in your house, you weren't guaranteed the person you wanted to pick it up would. And you'd have to pick some other random person that lived in that house to facilitate the phone call. And this isn't that long ago. Yet we're casually talking about whether or not internet browsers are good enough.
We didn't even have our own phone until the early mid 80s, so sort of 83, 84, something like that.
This is quickly going to turn into the 4 Yorkshiremen. You know this, don't you?
Luxury.
Very quickly.
You had gold to suck.
Yeah. Yeah, the house that I lived in with the 3-number phone number didn't have central heating, shock horror. I had to get up in the morning, clean the fireplace, make the fire, go and get the
Party
goats
line.
out, check the chickens for eggs, come back in, ride 4.5 miles to school on a butcher's bike. I kid you not.
Only 4.5 miles?
Only 4.5. Yeah, it's quite near.
And then you used to have to hop the school in the snow, so one foot was being kept warm because you had no shoes.
Yeah, no, snow was good because we did actually not go to school because the buses couldn't get through.
Oh,
the road was
school.
No,
there was no excuse for us. No, we had to walk to school, mate, in welly boots. Right old trudge, yeah, when you were soaking wet. But I always remember it was always hot in the school. The radiator's always working. I will give them that. Which is more than we can afford to heat buildings now, isn't it?
Yeah, we had in my school. We still had great big bloody
cast iron Victorian ones.
There were coal furnaces at our place. Yeah.
We had cast iron in my junior school and they didn't work. And then in my secondary school, it was built in the 40s, but a lot of it was them porter cabins and junk like that outside and wooden built Nissan up type things for woodwork and metalwork and stuff.
The school I went to was built in the 60s, so it was a wonderful example of Labour's brutalist architecture. But one thing I will say, I'll never ever deny I got a great. It was just a bloody comprehensive school, but I got a bloody good education out of that school. I had great teachers. I'll not have a word said against any of them. I can remember every single teacher from being in the infants all the way through passing out of college. I mean, you had teachers who were your favourites and that, and you had the teachers who were sort of a bit of an arsehole, but yeah, but they all taught you well, you know. There was none of this like, Johnny, just go and fucking read a story over there in the corner because I can't be fucked on because you're a bit of a character. So, not like
Even the
rappers now.
teachers that were real shitty bastards taught you something, didn't they?
They did, yeah. Well, my English teacher,
Taught
he
you quite a
hated
bit.
me. My English teacher, I mean, I've told the story that many times. I'm probably resurrecting him from the fucking dead, but he hated me, and I didn't care much for him either because I never saw the point. I mean, we had him for English literature and English language because they were two separate things, but it wasn't just English. You had English language and you had English literature. So English language was how do you form sentences, putting together fucking stories, and how you write proper fucking, you know, instructions so people can follow them. All that, just like the stuff that the you know, the fucking text generation don't get, which is why you get exam papers being submitted look like they fucking text speak. You know what I mean? It's like unbelievable.
Yeah.
But I used to ace every single fucking test, or task, homework and stuff like that. And literature-wise, I just fucking, I didn't bother. I semi-bothered, but I didn't bother really because I saw it as an absolute waste of my time. And if the academic agent ever heard this, he'd probably fucking ban my membership to his channel because he is that's what his fucking thing was, wasn't it? He was all Shakespeare and that, yeah. And I fucking hated it. I thought, this is as dry as fuck. Why are we reading this bullshit? And I just made it known to him. I just said I don't think it's very good. He fucking went ape shit. And he carried on, and I sort of I said to him, I said, well, if he's from Birmingham, he wouldn't speak like that anyway, would he?
Very true.
He sent me to the headmaster, and he shit myself because we used to get the cane back then.
Yep. I remember.
Headmaster, so I mean, I never had the cane when I was at bloody in school, but I got sent to the headmaster, and our headmaster was he come through the ranks of a PE teacher. He was a great headmaster, really. I mean, he didn't suffer.
What was your preferred technique for holding your hand when about to get hit by a cane? Was it the loose cupped hand or the stiff straight one that you hold pretty much vertical to the ground, so he's got to try to swipe it on the length of it?
I'm pretty sure it was the tense hand. I don't think I could manage anything else.
Yeah, but was your tense hand parallel with the floor or more or less vertical?
It was ready to fucking move. I remember that most.
What? Are you talking about the cane?
Yeah.
They used to cane your ass, not your hands.
And your hand.
No, crush your hands.
Depending on
maybe the ruler, for your hands, but the
ruler on your hand, the cane on your hand, the cane on your ass, the slipper on your ass, the wooden ball rubber at your head. From
the board rubber.
Yeah, had that a few times. Yeah.
Do you know the
also picked up by this bit of hair or this bit of hair without warning.
Yeah.
They creep up behind you and just
we the metalwork teacher used to cut a piece of heavy duty plastic piping to hit people with to order. Go in with a big guillotine and make a thing of fucking slapping it off the bench and whatnot, and cutting it to the right size.
Yeah, it was, well, like I say, but the thing is, the hell of it was, you know, you didn't get the amount of fucking bullshittery that they get in schools now, did they? Because there still was a certain amount of discipline.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that should bring it back. Fucking bollocks. And I used to dodge around with a couple of lads, and they used to have their hand was always red. Didn't matter what it wasn't sunburn because they were always getting the cane, but it was because of japery and pulling sort of. It wasn't because they were being insolent, or it was always because they were doing daft tricks, basically. And,
I think.
Go on, mate.
No, sorry, Sensum. Finish your story, mate.
No, I was just saying that when they left school, one went into the Paras and one went into the Royal Marine Commandos, and when they both passed out, they both went to the school and sort of, because, you know, it's bloody comprehensive school, didn't have many people that sort of achieved out. Do you know what I mean? So we had one girl who went to the Olympics as a shot putter, so she was she had her picture put up on the wall, and they turned up and they said, look, you know, and he goes, oh, I can't believe, you know, you're proud of you. And as they were walking up to the school, they actually encountered one of these fucking useless twats who was, they never got in any, they were like ballast, you know, they never fucking achieved anything. They turned up to school classes, they didn't cause any bother, but they were just, there was nothing there. You know, they were just fucking, they literally were ballast. And so they got these two lads walking up there, and he goes, well, we're going to school, that's probably be the last fucking place you pair will be going after the amount of canes you had. And my mate just said, yeah, but we deserved every single one. And this is where we are now. Going to sign on, are you, Glyn? Because one of them was called Glyn. Are you going to sign on, are you now? Yeah, well, yeah. Because he was a down and out, useless wasteful of a twat face. But, yeah, so I ended up at the fucking headmaster's office, and he said, oh, what are you doing here? I says, oh, his nibs has sent me. Oh, he has he? Why is that then? I said, well, I happened to intimate that I thought Shakespeare might be a little bit rubbish. And he goes, oh, you did you? I said I did. And he goes, oh, what did you do? And I said, he called me a Flintstone and told me to come and see you. He says, oh, he did you? He said, well, what do you think we should do? And I'm like shitting myself because I'm like, oh, I've enough. He goes, well, I tell you what we should do. What I need you to do for me is you need to go back to Mr. Wankstein, and you need to tell him that I've given you a serious talking to, and that you're going to try better. What do you think to that then? I said, yeah, I think that's a really good idea, sir. And I'm walking out the door. This story, honestly, it's lived with me forever. I'm walking out of the door, and the headmaster, he goes, oh, just a minute. I said, yes. He says, did he really call you a Flintstone? I said, he did, sir. He did. He called me a Flintstone. And I was a bit, I was like, yeah, fucker, calling me a fucking Flintstone. He goes, are you sure it wasn't Philistine? and I goes, yeah, that was it. That was the one. That was it. That's a God's honest true story. That's a God's honest truth. But in fairness, that same English teacher, he took us to the Crucible Theatre in Sheffield to go and watch yet another fucking Shakespeare play. It was The Taming of the Shrew, which, you know, fuck it. It's a so-called comedy. And
yeah, I thought it was one of the better ones.
Well, I actually, in fairness, I did actually quite enjoy it because we didn't read it in the class, but I enjoyed it when we saw it as the play. And I'm quite interested because it's about Kiss Me Kate, isn't it? The fucking Kate is the shrew, and there's a bit where Petruchio, they're trying to get him ready because he's getting married. And like all this fuss and all this shit, and Petruchio turns around and he goes, he says, she's marrying me, not my clothes, because they're all fussing over what he's going to wear and that. And I just burst out laughing. And there was complete not silence, because there was like lots of kids in there, obviously. And I just burst out laughing. And because you could see he was getting more and more pissed off about this whole fucking escapade of, you know, having to piss around just to get married to somebody. Can we just say we're married and that's about it? And I've no idea, Brad. I just know it as The Taming of the Shrew. But they made a musical called Kiss Me Kate, which was based on that story as well. So Kiss Me Kate is the only other reference I've got to it. And like I said, I burst out laughing. And when I looked around, all of the other kids that are there are like looking at me and thought, oh, you fucked up there. Oh, you're fucking in for it. You're, wouldn't like to be in your shoes, you fucker. That kind of look, yeah. So we get back in the school minibus, and as we drive him back, his nibs walks up to the thing, and he says to me, he goes, "You." "Yes, sir." "You know when you laughed at the Petruccio's clothes thing?" I goes, "Yes, sir." He goes, "Good." He says, "That's exactly what you should have done." I was like, oh, fuck, thank God for that. Because I actually found it funny. I understood it and I found it funny. And the amount of shit I got on the way back from Sheffield, and that's not a fucking, in an old school transit van, Sheffield to Stoke, I got the shit ripped out of me. "Oh, fucking teacher's pet." I said, "He fucking hates me. You fucking see me there every fucking week. You know I'm not his fucking favourite." I was like, yeah, just because you didn't fucking understand it. And then I got a fucking clag off one of the football lads. I thought, yeah, I won't say that again. But anyway, such is life in a proper school where you get to learn discipline.
Right, we're coming up on an hour. Well, we'll have a little musical interlude. We have a request from Anglo-Saxon, and
Okay.
Sheila's ...
Is it me singing?
It's not you, no.
Oh.
It's a musical song. I'm going to use it. Sheila sent me a video of this song to pass on to Anglo-Saxon.
I could see you all talking about this last night in the chat on Dangerfield.
Yes, I have.
It's a very hot topic.
Yes, Sheila sent me a video, and then she said, "Could we play it?" I was like, "I'm not sure if I can figure out how to do that." It turns out I can, but there was only a portion of the song on the video that Sheila sent me. So I've got it on YouTube. The pictures aren't as good as the one that was on Sheila sent me, but we'll give this a go. This is called "England Belongs to Me," and it's by a group called Cock Sparrow. I'm not sure.
I remember them. Yeah, I remember them. Yeah, they're sort of based punk, weren't they?
Yeah. Here we go. Musical interlude.
Years of being told you ain't as good as us. Join the line, sign your name. And they all said that our country's going bust. But no one's fooling us again. England belongs to me. A nation's pride, the dirty water of the rivers. No one can take away her memory. Oh, England belongs to me. We've shown the world that the boys are back to stay. And you all know what we can do. It's held high, fighting all the way for the red, white and blue. England belongs to me. A nation's pride, the dirty water of the rivers. No one can take away her memory. Oh, England belongs to me. England belongs to me. A nation's pride, the dirty water of the rivers. No one can take away her memory. Oh, England belongs to me. England belongs to me. And I said, "Bright the dirty water of the rivers. No one can take away her memory. Oh, England belongs to me. England belongs to me." And I said, "Bright the dirty water of the rivers. No one can take away her memory."
That's good old stuff. Good old stuff. I think they're around in the 70s. I think my older brother was into a bit of Cocksparrow at the time. I can't remember. I definitely knew a track that I did. 42. Can I just recommend a bit of software to you? It's a thing called Clip Grab. It's free, and you can download anything off of YouTube. Just search for it, download it, and you can download it. Save the audio as a WAV or MP3, and choose the resolution of the video as well. So anything that I've sent to Rags, I've done that, and I've just sent in the file, the video file. So you don't have to play stuff on YouTube. But yeah, that was we could hear it all perfectly fine. So yeah, it's good.
That software, that's going to have to wait until I get the new MacBook. I'm not quite sure when that's going to be soon, but this one is just about handling what I'm doing at the minute, and just about no more. I have to delete files and fucking. It's starting to do my head in. But
I thought MacBook was a Scottish holiday website.
Yeah, get yourself a lovely tenement block in Airdrie.
yeah,
No, in what was it called? Cumbernauld. Fuck me, that's I tell you what, that is depressing. That fucking place.
Oh yeah,
and my lot are from Prestwick, so
right. Well, my lot are from Coatbridge, and that was grim when I remember it as a kid. And I've been up there a few times over the years, and it's just gone downhill.
Hey,
believe it.
Hey, I've got a video. I've just remembered. Because I do like to have a bit of this month in feminism, don't we?
we do.
Yeah. So let me get to where am I now? Guest on 42. That's where it is, and it's in April. Yeah. This video. You know, when you see these shows like Whatever Podcast and Fresh and Fit and stuff like that. And, they're sort of saying, like, I'm a 10. It's like that, was it Gorlock the Destroyer?
Yes, Gorlock.
Yeah.
Well, this one, it's just the chef's kiss. Is it that time of the month, love?
I got a question. Maybe TikTok, maybe you got some advice, some of y'all out there. Where are the actual men at? Like, there's a lot of boys playing dress up, pretending to be men. They talk the talk, and they're really good at bullshit talking. Good at that. But when push comes to shove, they run tail tucked between their legs. They're not actually men. And most of the time, that's why as women choose to stay single. Because I've been single for a while. And I got 4 kids. And I'm not trying to raise somebody else's son because he ain't ready to be a man yet. Like, I'm 41 years old. I ain't got time to play games like that. And a lot of the men who want to be with me, they're not men. They're boys. I'm sorry. The boys that want to be with me, who pretend like they're men. So where are the actual men at? Because I promise you, I am definitely every bit of an alpha female. So if you want to be with me, you have to be firm in your masculinity, because I will intimidate you. I am very independent, and I don't ask for help very often.
Do you like popsicles?
She doesn't need a man. She needs a dentist.
She was an absolute catch. How many kids has she got?
4.
Four?
Yeah.
Or the men that
What
are
a
after
winner.
me. The men.
Yeah.
Chicken
What's
dinner.
the odds?
What a catch.
What's the odds that those 4 children have got 4 different fathers?
Oh, I think it's a fucking cert,
Well-
dead cert.
If I had any faith in humanity, it'd be slim, but I don't. So pretty good.
Yeah,
Pretty good.
She
Probably-
had lovely even. She had lovely even teeth. The odd ones weren't up to much, but
I think what's happened is she's hopped off the cock carousel and realised
Yeah.
it didn't want her for more than half an hour.
oh. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's. You like the cock carousel, do you? Do you like popsicle?
Well,
There you go, mate.
well, I would say
You can't afford to take her out for dinner too many times, can you?
I would say in the cock carousel she was a bail situation. Bail and leave immediately. Bang and leave
Is it
immediately.
that time of the month, love?
I'm sorry, I just have something I have to get off my chest. Women do not expire at 40. Who the fuck made that rule? What obvious man made that rule to decide that we are somehow no longer valuable when we hit 40?
The wall, no man on earth can make it fall. Girl, you wanted one last fairground ride on the old cock carousel. And now you've aged like month-old milk with a cat pissy smell. There's a box wine on the shelf for you.
Oh fuck! 40 to 90s.
Yeah.
That's where I tell them.
Where can I find all of that song?
It's mine. I can send it to you, Packer. I've got the whole song, yeah.
40 to 90s.
please.
40 to 90s a long time. All you've got's fucking box wine and cat litter.
My own lyrics as well. Not me
I'll
singing.
apologise to all the ladies in the chat for that on Sensum's behalf.
They are ladies, though, aren't they? They're not horrible
They are.
and
Obviously
demons,
not all
are they?
ladies.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but there's some great girls in there. Without doubt.
See, the ladies that hang about these parts are a lot more refined than these people that we're talking about on the video. So I don't even, I don't class them as being in the same species. So we're
No.
kind
So, well,
There's
conservative.
there's clearly a nice gene, isn't there?
Well, it's conservative leaning ladies tend to be,
All
you
the
know,
ladies here are
yes.
conservative.
you're
We're
more
not talking
beautiful
about-
inside and out.
We're not
Yeah.
talking about them, and because they're conservative, they know we're not talking about them, obviously.
Absolutely.
To give the last one a little bit of context, this was one of these ladies who, you know, had allegedly, you know, this is what it's always saying, like, you know, like had a cracking marriage of like 20 plus years or very near to 20 years, decided to go and have a ride, one last ride on the old cock carousel, immediately got dumped by the monkey branching bloke that she went to, and then as soon as he sort of turned her in, because she was an annoying fucker, she goes, "Oh right, well hubby, you can have me back now," and he goes, "Nope." And it was wonderful to. I'm not trying to take joy from other people's misery, but it was like a
There
chef's
are-
kiss.
There are very many stories of that, both from men and from women that found out that the grass is indeed not greener on the other side. But that's something that everybody gets to find out.
Yeah.
Should they mess that up? I think, have we anything else to talk about?
I've got a couple of stories. Depends
Yeah.
what you want to do. I mean, how long do you want to go on for?
Oh.
Really?
I'm happy enough. I'm quite conscious, Al, Matt,
Yeah.
if you need to skedaddle because you have work tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I'll shoot off at the bell in about 10 minutes. I will be listening without earbud in. I probably nod off to your dulcet tones. But yes, mate. Whatever you got, Sensum, would be great. I'll be here for another 10 minutes or so.
All right, mate. Yeah. Well, I just thought we'd do another bit of gynocentrism, shall we say? Just a little bit of extra madness here. But are we witnessing the death of the traditional surname? And here's the happy couple here. When Jess Bowie married Simon Osborne in 2015, The couple decided that if they ever had children, they would give them Jess's last name, in other words, Bowie. So there you go. And I've actually, this is not.
Sorry, that would be her grandfather's name then? That would be her father's name?
Yeah, David Bowie, yeah. So so look at this here. For Sarah Brimley and Dwayne Schick, it started as a joke. They've been dating for several years and enjoyed playing touch rugby together. It was the Bricks, so did Schick Bricks. Anyway, but yeah, I would, there's a very famous case of a bloke who this is not the golf story I was. This is not, because I have got another story, but in a good way that does include golf. But I have got a golf bit here. There was a bloke called Danish or Swedish bloke called Fredrik Andersen. He used to play on the European tour in the 90s and the early 2000s. And he married this woman, I think, I can't remember what her name was, but it was Agnetha Head, H-E-D. And when they got married, it wasn't like, because she wanted the double barrel-y, bitty bullshittery, which so they try to make themselves sound important, don't they? So instead of just being, Agnetha Andersen and Fredrik Andersen, they wanted the head in there. But they did it the other way around. So it was Fredrik Andersen Head and Agnetha Andersen Head, or whatever her name was. Years later, I was watching, I think it was one of his, it wasn't long before he retired, or he said he was going to retire. And Mark James, who was as dry as sticks with his humour, right? And he said, they were talking about that particular incident, and he goes, yeah, and Fredrik got good head, didn't he? So, yeah, anyway, and he was like, and Peter Alice and, what's it called, Sam Torrance, you could hear them corpsing. This was on the BBC. I don't think James worked for the BBC again for like 2 or 3 years after that one, because he said he gave her Anderson, and he said yeah, and she gave him head. and Peter Alice and Sam Torrance, you could just hear them just literally corpsing in the background. It was a sublime bit of TV. But anyway, there you go. We used to laugh about the celebrity couples blended names like Brangelina or Benefer, says Sarah, 38, a photographer living in South London. But when we got an age in 2017, we realised the next name Brick, as it sounded solid and defendable. So they've changed the name by deed poll to be called the Bricks rather than either Brimley or Schick. But if they'd had a double barrel, they could be called Shit Bricks, couldn't they? But anyway, said, I love the idea of one family name for all of us. Makes you feel like a unit, a team. Says my 93-year-old grandfather was crying out of laughter when we told him. Most people think it's brilliant. We're both feminists. Yeah, fuck that. So why would we all automatically take Dwayne's name? Because it's what you fucking do. Yes. Yeah, I am a firm believer in that, You're pissing around with your legacy there, motherfucker. Yeah, I'm not on board with this. This is a no for me. What about you guys?
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, these sort of traditions have been around for a long time for good reason, really, and sort of the carrying on the family on the male side, and it goes down sort of each way anyway. So it's not just always the father side, because he's going to have a daughter, or may have in the past, we had multiple children, and we'd have had a daughter that would have changed her name. Yeah, I've always big fan of it, really.
Yeah, no, he's fucking with it, fucking with the system. Don't do it.
Yeah. It's just like this a whole anti-traditionalist thing. So these sort of your leftist sort of woke types. I think half the reason that they just want to do it because it just fucks with the sort of anything that's traditional or family. They just want to fuck it up. Really, just they think they're putting a spanner in the works. They think they're shaking things up. They're not. They're just they're just sort of destroyers of tradition, you know, and they don't ever bring anything to the table, neither. Then, you know, nothing worth replacing it with, no new ideas.
The left come from an ideology whereby capitalism cannot work, and the only thing that can possibly work is communism. However, they keep seeing the capitalists ending up with these cars, computers, mobile phones, fucking aircrafts, and all this stuff. And the only way that they can find to uh, make that not work is to destroy the society that it's based upon. And that's what they're attempting to do. Destroy the society, which will then eventually destroy the output, and then communism will be a better option.
Yeah, it's spot on. And these people are spiteful mutants, aren't they? They just really are.
Oh, and not only are the spiteful mutants, they're on third or fourth generation of this fucking project. Actually, more than that, and they don't even realize what the project is. And they're just carrying on behaviors that's been handed to them with no thought for what it is. They just know that that's what they must do. It's a full on, they're in a full on delusion. And to be totally honest with you, it's a lot easier to end up in that state than you would think. It only takes everything around you to be manipulated a very small bit, and you will find ways to justify your beliefs and your behaviors. And I can give you a really good example. This is how easy it is. There are many, many men and women across this country who are having affairs. And of that, there's a percentage of them are having the sex in the bed, in the house where they live in. And their illicit partners come into their marital bed with their aftershave or with their perfume and going away again. And their partner is getting into that bed that night and failing to smell the aftershave or the perfume, because if they do that, then they have to go, there's something wrong here. There's something going on that I'm not part of. And then they have to do something about it. That do something is to leave the relationship. And they are not prepared to do any of that. So they will live in the delusion and carry on their behaviors that this is not happening. That's how easy it is. And there are many, many people in that position. It's the exact same thing, only put on like a societal level.
Yeah, that's very dark, isn't it? But yeah.
The other thing is, if you're deluding people, and whenever you realize that people can be deluded about their, here's a personal example. I escaped from an abusive relationship in 2012. It's currently 2025. In 2024, 10 years after I'd escaped, I had a load of stuff in my shed to take to the dump. So went down, had a look in the shed. There's going to be 3 runs. Put stuff in the car, took the dump. On the way back, there's a lay-by and whatnot. So I stopped in there and had a cigarette. Back in the car, back to the house, loaded up, back to the dump. On the way back from the dump, I'm driving past the same lay-by and I go, I stop here for a smoke. So I drove in, stopped, had a smoke, blah, 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 back in, got my 3rd load, went to the dump, came back and was driving in to the same lay-by. We actually do drive in there and I said, what the fuck's going on here? Because in the space of an hour, you've been standing in this exact same spot to have a cigarette. Why? And it turned out that whenever I lived with the witch, one of the things that I could do and not get shouted at was go to the dump on a Saturday morning. So I would go to the dump, and on the way there, on the way back, I would stop for a smoke or whatever to feel like a normal human being for 5 minutes. I'd escaped 10
For sure.
years, I was still displaying that exact same fucking behavior, which, by the
Yeah.
way, has stopped now because I figured out where it came from. But and I thought I was doing that because I wanted to, but I was doing something that I had put in place to cover up some other really fucked up shit that I was able to ignore. Now, how easy is it to ignore something whenever it's just who you fucking vote for or who your political party is or whatever? The level that you need to have people deluded, doing things for no real reason, with half a thought, is minuscule. And the world we live in is completely filled with propaganda.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. What? See, pack a laughing about that. Yeah, that is. Yeah, it's sad though. But that
Well,
yeah,
Albert,
that
you're friends with me on Facebook, so you know my
yeah,
views, my actual
yeah,
views
yeah,
on a
yeah,
lot of
yeah,
things.
yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah,
That's
yeah.
why I sit laughing at it, because the world is
Yeah.
so fucking deluded. It's
Yeah.
like you don't know where to start with people.
Yeah, no, you posting me, you
Like-
find some good stuff there. It's good. I'm right on it. Yeah, I love it.
You don't even know where to start with most people.
No.
I couldn't even know where to begin. Like one of the things I say when they say, "What the fuck are you talking about?" is I say, "Well, the system, as in everything, yeah, your entire life, the whole system, politics, the world, how it all runs, yeah, is not broken." Right? They tell you it's all broken. All the National Health Service is broken. Government's broken. We can't do this.
Hey,
We
who
can't
it
do
works for? It works for the government.
that. Yeah. None of it is broken. It's all
Yes.
working. They're
Yeah.
just not telling you what it's actually doing.
No, it's
They're lying to you about what it's doing, and it appears broken,
Yeah,
but it's not.
but it's not
bit
working on
like
the way. Yes, it's not working on the way that we think it's wanting to work.
Oh,
Yeah.
and the other thing is, even whenever it does work, it doesn't work in the way that you believe it does. Like, our system is very convoluted. It was designed that way for a reason, by the way. It was designed so that we were supposed to be the only people that knew how to pull all the levers. But unfortunately for us, somewhere in the mid 1800s, the people who think like us walked the fuck away from the levers and didn't give the instruction manual to the generation below them. And other people have taken over those spaces.
Yeah, it's partly that, though, isn't it? But it's partly that those people were brought in, went through a different education system, a different, university system where they'd been brainwashed. So, and also, but would the right people have even get a chance to get in these positions? I think they're being excluded deliberately as well. That's all part of the agenda, isn't it?
Once you've got a political ideology into an institution, it's incredibly hard to eradicate.
Yeah, and it's working for what it's intended to do by the people who are in charge of those institutions. That they are working. Like Packer's right.
Do you know who the largest employer is in Northern Ireland?
Is it not the NHS like it is here?
No, the civil service.
Okay, right, bloody hell, that's
Right.
crazy.
Now, the reason why it's the largest employer in Northern Ireland and not England is because England has a hell of a lot more of a population and therefore has other industry that employs a large amount of people.
But it is, but it's mainly the NHS though is the biggest employer in England.
Yeah, the NHS, but you'll be surprised how many people the government employ in the civil service. And by the way, none of these fuckers are going to vote against their job.
Right, it's a sort of closed system, isn't it?
Yes. And they're definitely not going to vote for anything that reduces the amount of government that there is.
No.
You know,
What's happening with Doge in America? I mean, if we're led to believe, if we're led to believe that that's what's really going on. I mean, who really knows now? But the reason that there's sort of hate against Elon Musk and Doge and everything, you could be right there, Packer. But it is because it's people that I've always said this, right? If you can't explain your job in one short sentence, then you don't have a real job. If you can't just describe exactly what you do, I know it's a little bit different from back when you just say, "Well, I'm a tool maker, or I'm a millwright, or I'm a baker, candlestick maker, whatever."
Simple shit. Tell me what you did today. Tell me what you did this week.
You ever worked for?
Some people's job titles are like a paragraph long, and that's not a real job.
Really large company, Al.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Here's what happens. You have a really big company or a really big government, and they employ X amount of people, and they've got X amount of people that are off sick on any given day. So they employ an extra 10 to 20% of people of what they need, particularly if it's the government. And then you have a bunch of people that are not actually required, but you've got to find something for them to do. So you come up with all these fucking make work profit projects, like checking how glitter affects the Hoover industry and all this other bullshit. But then but then you get them. But those people, they're there sitting in the wings that people that are doing other genuine projects can borrow on a daily basis. Here, I need you to look into XYZ for me. I need you to do this, that, and the other. So there's a shared resource between 3 or 4 different departments to do a bit of research for them while they're doing this cover story of fucking looking in the glitter. But Dodge has came in and they have wanted to know who all's working on what. And those people with like the glitter jobs, all those fucking make work jobs, they've went to the people who on a daily basis ask them to look into stuff. What they tell these people, you're not on my budget. You've been off my budget for 6 months. Everywhere they go, they're being told, I took you off my budget fucking months ago. So they're now left in the lurch with nothing to cover their 35 hours a week or 40 hours or whatever it is. And that's where Dodge is getting rid of the people, in my humble opinion.
Well, yeah, I don't think they should, and I think they should here. But I just before I go, I'm just gonna do this story about when me and Ali met. So I'm the youngest of 3 brothers, but so my middle brother, he got divorced some time back, and he got with us, but he's still with her now. Actually, they're not actually married. But when we first met, we were in a curry house actually. While the Sensum's ears are pricked up there.
Yep.
And so I think Ali asked, I said, "Oh, what do you do then?" Because they're sort of they're all sort of lefty Labour Party people and all that. They're pretty woke, And I can't remember what she said, and she rattled off for about a whole paragraph, and we sort of, me and Ali looked at each other. Then when she got to the toilet, whatever. What does she do? What's her? I said, I ain't got a fucking clue. And it's made up. It's nothing. It's one of these sort of government jobs, working with the youth. I've got no idea what she does, but I know that she gets fucking well paid for it.
Yeah.
And it just pisses me off.
Well, here's the other thing. Whenever you ask anybody from the government about a topic, their go-to is, last year we spent blah, blah, blah on youth, whatever. Now, they haven't said anything about what they have done to alleviate the problem. They've made a statement that they spent X amount of money on it. In order to make that statement honest, they have to have spent the money. So people like her get a job, doing fuck all. But that means that the money has been spent on that on that issue, and therefore it's dealt with.
Yeah.
Yeah, what you
Well,
want to know is how many children's play areas were upgraded, how many youth clubs were funded. They don't tell you that bit because that bit is not that bit's got nothing to do with how much they spent.
yeah.
Oh,
Well, what they're spending money on is dumbass jobs that don't need to be done. But anyway, lads, I'll take this opportunity to say goodnight and say goodnight everyone in the chat. I will be listening a little bit, so don't be talking about me behind my back. So I will be listening for the next 10 minutes. Okay.
Of course it will, but it's all good. And I'll thank you very much for coming on.
No worries. No worries. My pleasure.
God bless,
all
Maestro.
right.
Take
Thank
care.
you very much. And you too. By the way, top work on the poem music. I'll message you about that. I will. That should be finished quite soon. Everything's loaded up. I've just got to finish off. Been so busy, but yeah, we'll be honest with you. Thanks for that in the chat, guys. All right, we'll see you all soon.
Mate. God bless.
Cheers.
Yes, all the best, Al. Thank you. Yes.
Oh mate, shit! I've just remembered. Housekeeping.
Oh fuck! This is the latest one ever.
Better late than never. Anyway, I've only got a couple. Well, I've got one.
Oh.
The other one's a piss take. So the housekeeping, ladies and gentlemen, and we actually might work in their favour because we've got a few more in now. So tomorrow night at 7:00 BST, Rags and Jack will have the Woodlander on as their special guest, so should be a great show. And for the more discerning YouTuber, I always recommend watching Waffle Dave's house. However, if you're not, then you can tune into Dave's Waffle House Monday to Fridays at 8:30 each week. So there you go, mate. If you want to do that, lady, and Rich is a good lad. RPW, yeah.
Give us one moment. I'm just getting this to the. Oh no! We need to go back a little bit. Right, hold on.
Well, I'll just quickly plug my mate.
Yeah.
This
Christoph. Yeah, of course, we would be remiss.
Yeah, he streams.
You never
when he
know
streams.
when he's going to fucking stream, does he? That's the problem. There's no finite time.
No, well, he's shifty like that, isn't he?
Yeah, he works to a 36-hour clock, doesn't he?
Yeah, something like that.
Yep. Right. Yes. Robin Curry's is secure. She's in the chat tonight. You'll find her stuff pretty much everywhere. Anglo, I'll send you an email with her links and stuff.
I wasn't online yesterday.
Also, Rick from RPW Media. And also, I've got a little bit of a clip that I need to show you here. Yes, that should be about right. Are we up? Yes. Watch this. This is the end of this week's Duck Race. Here we go. The last 24 seconds. Hold on. Need sound.
Cream dressed as a clown. It's going to be between Cream, Benton and Cream. He loves the Cream. I think it might be the Cream man for once. And another Cream. We've got a Willie. He's out in front. Oh, no, he's lost it. It's going to be Benton. Now it's going to be Sensum. Sensum's going to take it.
I didn't even have a duck in the race last week.
Yeah. Not only had you a duck in the race, but you won it. Nah.
But I wasn't even on any of Dave's streams last week, was I?
Well, you not only had you a duck in the race,
right,
but you won it, and we'll take it about here.
Yeah. What's he gonna win? I got a sore throat now.
Last.
Yeah, do it 42. I mean, I'll be lurking anyway. Love this part of Fridays. Nicole, Papa. Ooh, Nicole, Papa. Right, hold on. I need to urge my flip there.
This is the level of content you'll get in the Dave Waffle House stream, by the way.
I got to take Picard's prize off that he won last week that I still haven't sent out. Picard, I'm sorry. All right.
Yeah,
I will get it sorted. I will.
slacker.
Has anybody seen Uncle Skin either? I mean, you can see him coming because you can feel the light coming off him to see the light. Oh! Like that. I did. True story. So I got to my client's house and then I stopped because I thought it might look a bit weird. Right, anyway. Sensum, good luck. Winner in the game of life. Come on!
I've got a top prize.
Yep, you have. You've got a top prize. You've got a Bluetooth speaker.
Oh, that would be unfair because I've already got one. So, yeah. Maybe you put it back in the camera for next week. Because that's, no, he can keep that. He can do it. He can do a double up 2 non-runners next week if he wants.
Sensum just doesn't want to give him his address.
Hey?
Sensum just doesn't want to give him any address in case Dave Waffle House turns up.
Well, I don't know if they sent to one, the Vatican, Rome, Italy.
So there you go. Yes.
How the fuck? But how did I win a race when I've not even been on at all this week? Have I? Because I've been.
You had a duck in the race. I bought I bought Dangerfield some ducks, put them in, which was quite funny because his ducks was a unicorn and a copper.
Yep.
What I think is, yeah, I can't believe. I put that message in Telegram saying, so is Chris packed in? Yes, he has. And I fucking cancelled my member. 5 years I've been with Dangerfield. And like literally 2 weeks later, he's back on fucking streaming. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. I'm not starting from scratch one again. Fuck that. I got all the fucking symbols and everything. I'll chuck him. When I know he's on, I'll chuck him a £5 here or a couple of quid. You know what I mean? But I never know when the cunt's on because he doesn't plan anything. You know what I mean? How the fuck do you know when he's on? Are you clairvoyant or something? You know what I mean?
No, I just live on the internet. No, he sends Mrs. Packer an email.
Yeah, that's
He
what
likes
we need
talking
to do.
to my wife.
Oh, hello. What I think is...
in Danger's defense, I would say sending Mrs. Packer an email would work a lot better than sending Packer an email.
It does work a lot better, yeah, because she looks at her emails constantly, whereas I look at mine about once a month.
Yeah, you know something, mate. I'm the same.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'll be sat here, yeah, and I'll be concentrating on something. I don't know if it's like a program or like a film or bloody some music thing I'm doing or whatever it could be. So I'll be concentrating. And if my phone bleeps with a fucking... I literally jump out of my skin. I'm like, fuck, what was that? Because it's so fucking infrequent. And I'm the same with me email. Do you know the thing? That I make a religious point of checking my Telegram once a day, round about... it's usually between... I can't say exactly when it'll be, but it'll be between 5 and 7 o'clock on an evening, Monday to Friday. And that's why I always say to people, because the number of times I've had bloody little messages dropped in off the likes of William and that saying, yeah, do you fancy dropping on for a bit of a stream? And then a day and a half later, I'll say, sorry, mate, I I didn't see it. You know what I mean? If you want me to come on anytime or plan anything, give me if you want to do something on a Thursday, make sure you tell me about it on a Tuesday night, because that way you're guaranteed I'll at least see it. You know what I mean?
Danger gives me about half-hour warning generally.
Yeah.
That's about it, about half-hour warning. But it does say on my face cloth, I put it on today, if your phone's not ringing, that's me.
Oh.
I'll tell you something now, I'm going to prime the Woodlander. I've got to prime him for tomorrow with Rags and Jack. I want him to tell, you must have heard it, about the pub door.
No.
I'll tell you now. I don't know if it was on. I think it was on my. I think that was the first time me and him did a stream together when he come on as a guest on my channel. Or was it Toller? No, it was Toller. No, it was Toller. I think it was on Toller. And he told this story about this fucking pub door, and I was in absolute fucking bits. It was the funniest bit of comedy. I mean, the BBC couldn't come up with shit like that. You know what I mean? It was so funny. And then a couple of years later, he'd been out on the Hoy, which is something that's quite, you know, it doesn't happen often with the Woodlander, but he'd been out on the Hoy, and obviously lives in the back of Beyonds, and he thought he'd go al dente through his little fields at the back to get to his gaff, and he fell over, and all his shit, like his phone and all kinds of fucking shit, fell out everywhere, and and he couldn't find his way home, and in the end he was like, help, like, like walking, getting scratched a bit by brambles and that, and his missus come out with a touch. The fuck are you doing? You know what I mean? And eventually I go back the next day to find his phone and all the bits that had fell out of his pocket, because he was going to use his phone as his torch. Do you know what I mean? But I'll tell you now, if you've not heard Woodlander's pub door story, it was on the Tollers. It was on, I'm certain, yeah, it wasn't on me, it was on Tollers, but I got him to tell it again. He's probably fed up of telling the fucking thing now, but it was, I can remember, because I was actually listening to it in bed, believe it or not, because I got in bed early, and I was listening to it on my pad thing, and I was in bed, and I was just fucking howling. I couldn't go to sleep, because I was just fucking rolling with laughter. It was the funniest fucking thing, and not for him obviously, but it, it was so funny. Oh man, I tell you, the pub door, and it, like I say, it's not. It's if somebody wrote it as a sketch, you know, like fucking Ronnie Baxter or somebody, Ronnie Barker, sorry. Wrote it as a sketch. Nobody would believe it. Say that's too far fetched, and it was a fucking true story. One of the best ones that I'm gonna have to either. I'll tell you what. I'll prime Rags and Jack tomorrow. Say get Woodland to tell that fucking pub door story. I'm hoping I'll be there for that one. Excuse me, because it is so funny. It's a great story. And it would be wonderful to have it, you know, retold. He's probably, like I say, he's probably fed up, but what a great bit of fucking, yeah, great stuff. Hey, it's just a quick one. Got a couple of stories, mate. Do you want to have a? It's been a while. But do you want to? We haven't had a Brexit nonsense video in a long while, have we?
We have not.
Do you want a bit of Brexit nonsense?
Yes, please.
Look at this shit here. State of this. DVLA bans pro-Brexit number plates.
What?
So, yeah. Fuckers. If it's not illegal, it's legitimate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know when I see adverts like this here, this fucking training shoe here,
Yeah.
before you go like, oh, and now I look at them and I say, yeah, they look comfy. You know, it's like the stages of life. These trainers look comfy. The Driver and Vehicle Licensing Agency has banned several pro-Brexit number plates ahead of the launch of the new 75 registrations this year. The DVLA blocks any combinations that may cause offence or embarrassment or in poor taste. Yeah, fuck you, you humorless, utterless cunts.
Yeah.
Oh, do you remember the woman that pulled into the police because her number plate was slut?
Non-crime hate incidents, is it? Something like that.
Fuck knows.
I don't know, mate. Fuck
Yeah.
knows. So newly prohibited number plates that includes EU out, EU as shit, EU war, EU 75 yes, or any driver caught using them could face up to a fine of £1,000 and fail their MOT. Absolute fucking bastards. I mean, if it was If it was JW75, great. You know, they'd be all on fucking board with that, wouldn't they? Twats. Utter cunts. I completely and utterly detest every single fucking administration in these lands and every single fucking political party in these lands, like officiated in representation party. You are all shit. You're all charlatans. You should be fucking removed from office because you don't do a fucking thing for the people of our fucking nation. I mean, when was the last time that taxes went down? Never. When was the last time things got better every year? Never. Well, maybe it's in the 80s we had a bit of a bubble. But since fucking John Bull Major in the 90s, taxes have gone up pro rata, higher and higher every single year, and things have got shitter every fucking year. What on earth are you fucking useless shits doing? So we can't even have a bit of a laugh, like you fuckers. So EU 68 bad was blocked a couple of years ago. And the agency also banned apparent references to the protected group, including AU 75 WTS, Auschwitz, and Ask Gay. Yes, As Gay, yeah. Over the past decade, sales of personalised number plates have more than doubled in Britain. The DVLA have raised £250 million from their sale. You know, and I think FAGOATS was okay. I think that got through. That was fine. You know, they're happy with that. And D1DL3R was okay as well, wasn't it? Yeah. I think that was the one that Jimmy Savile had. You know, in 2017 they removed jihad. I don't fuck it. You know, let everybody have their own fucking thing. Fucking honestly.
Oh,
absolute fucking.
Our number plates in Northern Ireland are different years, and they start off they'll have 3 letters. So whenever they're on A, they would go. The first one would have been AAA, then ABA, ACA. It goes up through the alphabet like that, and then goes through, and then there's numbers at the end. A while ago, they were on the letter U, and they had to skip all sorts of letters because whenever it came to U, V, they obviously didn't want an F there, and they didn't want a UDA or a UFF, so they had to change their whole fucking system and skip out all sorts of letters, and that wouldn't just go because of the way it works. These first 3 letters go on all the number plates until you've got through that amount of numbers, the 4-digit number. So first one would be 0001, 0002, blah, 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 up through until you get 1989 or 9989. So there's that. It's you're not alone within your sensitivities in England with the number plates.
Yeah, it's just utter madness. Sorry, I'm getting another beer because I'm having a beer tonight. Fuck it. Here's the evidence. Lovely.
Well, as going back to what we were talking about earlier, as the generation that grew up in the schools and the system we did, we had it harder, but we had more fun and we learned more.
Yeah.
And we learned sticks and stones, didn't we?
Yeah.
So this just appears as nonsense to us.
Yeah.
Well, this is the other thing, you know, all of this bullshittery around the so-called online harms bill or whatever, or the online safety bill or whatever they're calling it. We all know what the purpose of that is. It's got fuck all to do with protecting children or whatever. It's everything to do about dissent against the regime. Al Mack was straight in there early on saying Blair's got his fucking digital ID through eventually.
Yep.
You know, like I say, everybody, there's different people out there And they're talking about, conspiracy theory this and conspiracy theory that, across a myriad of things. What they fail to realise is there is only one conspiracy theory, and that is to have the absolute control over your every waking moment of your life as an individual.
The conspiracy is to tell you that you're free.
Yeah, exactly. So, like I say, they want control over what you eat, where you can go, what you can say, what you can think, what you can eat.
COVID was their bad dream.
Yeah, what you can drink. It's literally every single thing under the sun. If they could, and this probably will happen, if they could commodify the air that you breathe, they'll do it, because the whole idea is that the few annex every single fucking tangible item on the planet, and if we're lucky and we behave ourselves and we're good little fucking worker bees, they might allow us like some, just enough in order to sustain us. That's what that is the wet dream of the likes of Larry Fink and all these other tosspots at the top of the train.
Here, Sensum, I don't even think they want us to exist.
Well, no, because they want, the Georgia Guidestone says, let's get us down to about 500 million. But they want to get what they want is the 500 million that'll be the least questioning and the most subservient.
Right, yes.
So that means that all of us lot has to fucking go, doesn't it?
But there's only one group of people on Earth that are turning down the free money for no work. And that would be half of the white Europeans. Because half the white Europeans are accepting the make work and the free money. And those half of the white Europeans are what's between them and their total power. So therefore we have to go. So they're not even going to allow us to subsist. They can't.
Yeah.
Our nature of fairness and one rule for all means that we cannot stay, because we will not allow them to do what they want to do without at least pointing it out. And that's why we have to go.
Yeah, well, the 2% basically want 500 million of their pets, so that there's just literally enough. There's just about enough of people to be able to maintain the AI and the robots, and be servants to them. It literally is the Morlocks and the Eli. That's what they want.
See what happened. We're turning wolves into dogs. And they got a whole bunch of wolves, and then they got them to breed, and they kept only the least aggressive ones and the ones that were most likely to take human interaction. We are the ones that do not accept that, and therefore we have to go. Because in every cut, they're making the people more docile. And the only way that they can continue that is if the people like us and our opinions no longer exist.
Yeah.
And I think we've hit the point where I don't even know why that changed.
No, I did it. I took it off.
I think we've got the point. We're hitting the point where it's at the battle. The battle is afoot. One group's going to come out on top, one way or another. And I'm also going to say that it's probably going to take 50 to 100 years for it all to happen. But we are currently on the front lines of this bullshittery, and we all need to do what we can. And the other thing I'm going to say is, waiting for anybody else to come and save you ain't going to work. There's nobody coming. There's us. That's it.
Yeah, I know. It's absolutely horrendous. Yeah, well, what can you do, eh? It's all a bit
You
shit,
shall not go
isn't it?
quietly into the night.
No.
Mostly, all you have to do is
That
be
was
a strong community, and they can't really hurt you.
Well,
Mostly, that's what you have to do.
this is exactly what it is. When he
42. Sorry, mate. Sorry, can I just stop you there before I forget it? That do not go quietly into the night. That you're a poetry buff. Is that Dylan Thomas?
I think it is, but I'm not 100% sure.
What a great
I know the quote.
Yeah.
I know it's from a poem, but I'm thinking mostly from the Dead Poets Society film.
Yeah, I'm certain it's Dylan Thomas. Is it?
Yeah,
It's not
Brad's
Under
on
Milk
it.
Wood, it's
I'll tell you what, Brad's a lot more learned about poetry than I am. Yeah,
what
it's
a great
Dylan Thomas.
poem that is. It's remiss of me to not remember the title of that poem because it is fantastic. I do the only reason why, and once again, this is just showing how little I considered English literature when I was, because we did actually do Under Milk Wood and that when I was at school, but that's not it. It's not Under Milk Wood. I'm pretty sure of that. But the only reason why I know, or I recollect that it's a Dylan Thomas piece is because one of my favourite sci-fi films is a film called Interstellar, which has got Michael Caine as one of the chief scientist type bods. And the last words he says, because he dies in it, I'm not doing any spoilers here, is that line: "Do not go quietly into that dark night." It is, and I thought, fuck me, that's very prophetic. That must be from, and even then I was thinking to myself, I fucking know that, and I think I looked it up and I remember it was a Dylan Thomas poem. Yeah. Dylan, he was a card, wasn't he, old Dylan Thomas? He was absolutely mortal drunk most of the time. Poor bugger, died from fucking boozing. But it's such a mind to come out with some of the shit that he came out with. What an absolute... That's the tragedy, isn't it? Because...
The tortured soul.
The tortured soul, it is exactly that, isn't it? Same as Van Gogh, you know. Everything he did, he thought was shit. And it was only after he died, it was like, oh, this is fucking genius. It's like, you know, that literally is the definition of a tragedy. You know what I mean? It's like, fucking... Anyway. Sorry, 42, I interrupted you there, but I just wanted to get that out of my head.
No, it was good. I enjoyed that. The education system has done. Oh, here I'm going to address this. Parkgate. See the Dublin people? They can fuck off back to Dublin, as far as I'm concerned. And if they do want, I'm not sure exactly what Parkgate's on about. I think it's possibly some of this fake fucking all Irish people together thing, which I do not agree with. See my video on cross community ratting. It's all bullshit. But see the people in Dublin want to come up to Belfast. Could they please go down to the village, down to the end of Donegal Road, where the people from the Falls Road attack them every other fucking night with bricks and bottles and paint and shit? And could they please stand down there, or would that be too fucking sensible for them? Sorry. Divulging a little bit of Belfast politics. We, as you will have seen, we keep on being told about how based the Irish are and how they're going to be our friends. I honestly don't believe any of that. I don't believe them to be based. I don't believe them to be our friends. I think the only reason they're anywhere near us is because, once again, they've got a hand that wants to take. And it's part of a way to try to prove to all the British people that the Irish people are actually dead on, and the people from Northern Ireland will indeed be fine if they just remove that border and take Northern Ireland into Ireland and stop the United Kingdom being a kingdom. And that's not the case. And I really don't agree with any of that bullshit. There you go.
Sensum?
Go on, mate.
Yeah, then me either.
I know.
We could have. I suppose we could have a. I'll tell you what. We could have a funny musical interlude just to give Packer a laugh, and then I've got a. I actually have got a nice. Well, a good story. I have got one last good story that I saw, and I thought 42 would actually appreciate this one. So, if I bang up a little musical interlude, would you mind playing it?
Oh yes.
And this is for our friend Pack. Where's it gone? Video. I'll do that. Where does it keep doing this? So I don't know whether to do the YouTube rated version or just the ordinary one. I'll do the ordinary one, mate. If it's a bit loud, I do apologise. Better than not being loud, eh? Hey, enjoy this one, Packer.
One on the shelf for you. There's rising red and rosé Prosecco on a Sunday. There's a box wine on the shelf for you. There's a box wine on the shelf for you. No need to get up early. You're living your best journey. There's a box wine on the shelf for you. And don't forget the kitty litter goes real well with those empty, hollow, broken dreams and cat pissy smell. There's a box wine on the shelf for you. There's a box wine on the shelf for you. Your eggs are nice and frozen. This is the life you've chosen. There's a box wine on the shelf for you. Well, you wanted one last fairground ride on the old clock carousel, and now you've aged like month-old milk with a cat pissy smell. There's a box wine on the shelf for you. There's a box wine on the shelf for you. Don't you get up early, you're living your best journey. There's a box wine shelf for you. There's a box wine on the shelf for you. Ow. Well, don't need to one last fairground ride on the old clock carousel, and now you've aged like month-old milk with a cat pissy smell. There's a box wine on the shelf for you. There's a box wine on the shelf for you. There's a box wine on the shelf for you. There's rising red and rosé Prosecco on a Sunday. There's a box wine on the shelf for you. There's a box wine on the shelf for you. And don't forget the kitty litter, it goes real well. Those empty, hollow, broken dreams and cat pissy smell. There's a box wine on the shelf for you. There's a box wine on the shelf for you.
Oh fuck, that was class.
Yeah, that was quite a jolly tune, wasn't it? I enjoyed that.
That was fucking amazing.
Yeah, well, wait until I bring out Accountability as a Woman's Kryptonite. That'll be a fucking big hit, that one will. Yeah, I've got the lyrics ready.
I swear to fuck, Sensum, get an album. Get an album.
I've got, it's yeah, accountability is a woman's kryptonite. She'll kick and moan and scream and bite because she's always right. Accountability is a woman's kryptonite. She'll kick and moan and scream and bite because she's always right. The car rolled off the driveway. I said, was it in park? Shut your mouth, you stupid cunt, was her only retort. It only cost $10,000 to fix our car in Jim's. And watch what you go and say him, 'cause I'm still fucking him. Accountability is a woman's kryptonite. And the other says, my son, he don't look like me. He's 3 shades darker than night. So I got myself a DNA test and she stabbed me with a knife. He is your son, the state says so, so you'll still have to pay. Maybe I'll chew a bullet and make this go away. Accountability is a woman crypto. Yeah, I've got all these fucking tunes, you know. I'm actually great. I can't play a fucking instrument. I've got some great tunes in my head and everything, you know. Yeah.
If you heard what Al Max said, on Rags' last week, you don't need to worry about not playing instruments and stuff. What you do,
I missed it, mate, because I was. Do you know?
Yeah.
I was even thinking about sticking it on my
Yeah.
phone.
Well, he spoke very highly of you, and he said that what you do is making music, and don't be worrying about don't be letting the fact that you don't play an instrument make you think otherwise. Would be the best way I could paraphrase that.
My lad, but the thing is, I tell you what, it skipped a generation because you know how Packer, he encourages his lad to do his motorsports and all shit like that because
Yeah.
I think that's the greatest gift that a dad can do for the kids is just encourage them. If they, you know, it's quite a strange one because he's always been very creative and particularly musical, and I think he might have inherited the love of music from me, even though I physically can't manifest that. But he does all that thing, and he can play, like literally, he plays everything now. He plays the guitar. He can sort of pass. He's passable pianist. He's got 3 guitars. He's got a drum kit, and it was a really good one because I fucking bought the cunt for him when he was 16. And it was. And now he's got a hillbilly banjo. He plays the mandolin, and his latest fascination is harmonica, the mouth organ. Yeah. So, and he's even got one of those fucking neck strap bullshit, so he can actually. He's like Bob Dylan. He's like he can play the guitar, sing, and play the mouth organ. And I'm like, if I was a fucking octopus, I couldn't do that shit. You know what I mean? So I've always encouraged the creative aspect in them, and like I say, I've always had music in me. I've said this a number of times, and I say this unironically. I actually dream in music. As many a time I'll wake up and I've got a tune in my head just buzzing around, and it's the biggest frustration for me is the fact that it's very difficult for me to translate what I'm hearing in my head into a physical medium, like, you know, into music that you can hear and listen to. Because if you could hear what's going on in my head, you'd think, oh, this is fucking great. But I imagine that's what everybody thinks. Do you know what I mean? But it is, I'm like, because I've thought of different Bond tunes and that, and I've tried to put them down on paper, and they've always been fucking terrible. And I'm like, yeah, but in my head, it sounds fucking great. You can see Bond, like, rocking up to this one. You know what I mean? It's like, But it all stems back from do you remember the Commodore 64? I don't know
Yes.
if you guys remember the Commodore. You must remember the Commodore 64, yeah?
Yes.
The music that was on there was a bloke called Rob Hubbard, and he wrote like most of the very famous tunes that used to be on a Commodore 64, and it was just a 3-voice little unit, and he wrote some fucking belters, and I thought, oh wow, how are you able to do that? And I like sort of translated that forward. And in 1987, I got a computer called a Commodore Amiga. That was like the next one on from this Commodore 64, and it had 4 voices or 8 voices. I can't remember. When I say voices, it means notes that can be played simultaneously, basically. So, and I got all this tracker software, and I was knocking out fucking dance tunes and hip hop and techno type tunes, you know, way back, long before the people like Snap got the power and all, or well, roughly about the same time as all them lot. But also at the same time there was this big scene at the time on home computers called the demo scene. and it was basically how many fucking bouncy graphics and what kind of impressive visual shit can you do that nobody else can do. It was almost like sort of breakdancing, but with computers, sort of trying to one up what kind of stunts and tricks you could pull. And I used to just basically write music for those. That's how I got started in this thing. And you know, I knew a few of these lads who used to be on the what's called the demo scene. So, you know, let's not cover it up for what it is. Also, back in that time, the copyright rules, etc., weren't necessarily as strong as what they should have been. So people who used to sort of flaunt the fact that they'd managed to break or crack, as they used to call it, certain games, etc., you know, they used to flaunt it with their little like, you know, their little graphics and that, you know, did as it was loading. Yeah, I did this, you motherfuckers. And, you know, they got people to do the graphics for them. And the people who they got the graphics for them, I used to do the music for them. So they used to say, oh, I've got this bit of a demonstration going on here. Can you knock something up for that? So, yeah. And then the next thing is, you know, it's like sort of, you know, oh, here's a crap game for whatever. And I'm like, oh, that music sounds familiar because it was fucking mine. I had no direct contact. By the way, curtain twitching fucking bastards, I didn't know any of the hackers. I just used to provide music for people doing visual arts. Yeah?
Yes.
That's what I used to do. And then every now and again, I'd see like this bouncy graphics like, yeah, cracked by Mr. Cunt or whatever his name was. And I was, oh yeah, that music sounds quite familiar.
Got a question for you, Sensum. How many games did you actually pay for? Whenever you wanted a new game, did you go to the shop and purchase it, or did you come across it?
Honest to God, I'm being 100% honest now because nobody's perfect. I would say until I started working, I would say it was 50-50. If I'm being honest, truth, God's honest truth. Because sometimes what you have to think on it is when you got cracked versions of games, you got the cracked versions of games that came from any fucking way you wanted, right? So
yes,
you know, if you got you know, you could be like playing Speedball or something like that, or wherever it was called, and you'd be like playing this game, like, yeah, man, like sort of, and it would like, and you score a goal and go, Das Spielen! It's like, oh fuck, what's that? It's like, because it was the German cracked version of it, or, you know, it would be sort of, you know, or some Rusky fucking twang shit. So, yeah, no, it was 50-50. I'm gonna say it wasn't 100%. It was 50-50, and that was across the board. In fact, on the spectrum, because everybody had a spectrum. On the spectrum, I would say it was probably more like 80%. Yeah. So yeah. So there you go.
And then you had the Spectrum, and then Daley Thompson's The Coughlin came out, and then everybody had keys that would never work again from the running.
No. I had a Kempston joystick, so that I used to break them all the time. Do you know what the best joystick was for games of all time? It was the Atari video system joystick. That was the best joystick of all time. You know, the 9-pin D Atari joystick. I used.
You only ever needed two, didn't you, for your Atari, and that was it.
Yeah. I used them all the way through. I'll give you a little rundown of the shit I had. I built my own ZX81 because it was 40 quid cheaper than the built one. I then had a ZX Spectrum. Then there was this fucking weird piece of shit in the middle called a Jupiter Ace, which was actually in what was called the Forth language. It was a programming language called Forth. And that language was actually developed by fucking telescope engineers, radio telescope engineers, for adjusting how telescopes got there. And the mathematics on the Jupiter Ace was in a notation form called reverse Polish. So I had to learn reverse Polish in order to be able to program this fucking piece of shit. And years later, that came in really fucking handy for a project I actually worked on in the real world. Later on, then I had the next computer I actually had was a Amstrad CPC 6128. So I didn't go straight to the Commodore 64. I went to the Amstrad because that was great for programming, Z80 programming, 10 times better than the Speccy. But the games were shit, so then I got a Commodore 64 as well. So I was co-running as Amstrad CPC 6128 and the Commodore 64. Commodore 64 for games, because programming on the Commodore 64, even in BASIC, was peek and poke statements, because the basic language on the Commodore was absolute fucking shit. And then I got the Commodore Amiga. I'd already learned 6502 assembly, so then I tried to learn 68,000 assembly, and I went, fuck me, that's a bit hard. So I left that to these blokes who did the graphics and that, you know, the fucking knew how to program what was called the co-processor, because the Amiga had a co-processor which was brilliant, called the copper chip, which was basically literally COPR, which was co-processor, so they called it the copper chip. And then after that, it was basically PCs from then on. So that's my history of computing. And like I say, I'm very missed to say that my classical training and all this shit was like sort of not really engineering based, but there was a lot of I'm terrible at maths, by the way, but there was a lot of maths involved. So I used to write temporal substitution algorithms for missile no, I didn't do any of that shit. No. Didn't used to do any of that shit. No. Well, that's what it was supposed to be used for. And then they snaked it out into something slightly different. And I thought, I don't want to be part of this shit anymore. So I ended up fucking working, you know, going Joe Normie down the path of slop computing. So that's my lot in life. Yeah, there you go. If you ever want to know about temporal substitution algorithms, I'll more than happily tell you. It's so boring, it's unreal, but it's very clever because you can use it for tracking things in time and in space. So you can predict where things are going to be if they follow the same path. That's why they were very good. Imagine Missile Command in 3D. That's basically what they were. So fuck all use now with hypersonic missiles. I'll tell you that for now, boys. Hey, and anybody who's fucking listening, I know you haven't cracked that cunt yet because you haven't got the sensors quick enough to do it. So fuck you. I also started on my own bants when I was looking at this modern warfare stuff where they're just using drones for everything now.
Yep.
I think that's the most hateful fucking thing ever. And I was watching a film, my lad had a film the other day called Angel Has Fallen, and it shows you, basically, it's Morgan Freeman and Gerard Butler, and he's out on a boat somewhere, because I think Morgan Freeman's playing the president again. Because Morgan Freeman, he either plays God or the president, doesn't he? Morgan Freeman is that good. And they're out on this boat, and this fucking drone swarm comes in. It just obliterates the whole fucking thing. So
see, whenever you die, and you get that bit that your life flashes in front before you, who do you have to pay to get Morgan Freeman to narrate that for you?
I'm Morgan Freeman. Andy was a good man. But it was like, I was thinking to myself, yeah, because you know that's got to be the worst thing in the world ever. I remember seeing one of the. They didn't show it all the way through, thank God. But it was basically a Russian soldier out in the field somewhere. He basically got down on his knees and he put his hands up his head. It's more like, so yeah, I've resigned my fate. And they still blew him up anyway with these fucking drones. So I was looking into filament-based defense systems, like personal filament-based defense systems. So imagine, you know tasers, yeah?
Yeah.
Do you know how their wires like shoot out? at the
Yeah,
particular target. Yeah.
yeah. I've
Well,
got two wires, two barbs. They hook into you, and then that makes the circuit.
yeah. Now it wouldn't be too much of because all of these things have rotors and whatnot, so it wouldn't be too much of a stretch of an imagination to produce whether it's a grenade or a projectile of some description, or even a pack where it literally, when it explodes, it just fills the sky full of lengths of strands of filaments.
Yeah,
So as these drones come in, it just fucks their rotors up basically. And they could be charged as well, so it fuck the charges up as everything. So there's two ways you could actually try and combat it. You can combat it by trying to create an electromagnetic cloak, in as much that you block the signal to them.
but the problem isn't even so much the drones. The problem is you Ukrainians that have got them, because the first thing is
Turkey give
they
them.
have no understanding of the value of them, and they've no understanding that they may actually run out. So they don't care how they use them. Those drones that they're using to chase down individual soldiers is a massive waste of resources. That same drone could be taken out an armored car, could be taken out a tank, could be taken out a command trench, could be doing all sorts of stuff. And the only reason that we're seeing them being used like this is because the people who are using them have got no fucking, and the people who are commanding use have no interest in the cost of them or how many they've got, and they'll just use them willy nilly and stupid shit. And it's a fuck doing. It's crazy
I
what
mean,
they're doing as well.
this is going back several years now, but I've seen drones, surveillance drones or earwigging drones as they're
Yeah.
called, that literally are the size of mayflies,
Yes.
and all they need to do in order to charge is they can like purchase themselves on the socket of a light bulb that's on, and they can actually charge off from that there, and they still transmit and everything. So those are like and that's that's not science fiction, that's science fact. But as regards to the the other type of drones, I've seen them now fully fly. I mean, the problem is the smaller they get, the more susceptible they are to the elements. In as much that if it's a really fucking windy day, they can't handle it.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's a calm day, I've seen launches that literally look like a cigar tube, and these things fly out at the end of these cigar tubes. And as soon as they're launched, they're sort of spring loaded and they open up, and then they're ready to rock and roll. And they've all got fitted with cameras. All got the battery. It doesn't have to be such a great long lasting thing, because
How many people do you need to? How many? Do you need one person to run each one of those drones, or can one person be running multiple?
No, it's image processing, so they know the designated target type.
All right, yeah.
So they basically are launched. They launch them high in the air, and they're told, right, find something that resembles the target that we've programmed you to find. And this is where this filament-based system comes in, because you see a drone swarm, you need something to launch in the air, as much shit in the air that'll fuck them up. In other words, like, pardon?
A blunderblaster. A blunderblaster.
Well, that's what you do. That's how the missile defense system works. Because in the way that missile defense system works is, you detect a missile, you know roughly its speed and its direction. So you basically pump a shitload of lead into the sky, hoping that one of those will actually nick it or like hit it square on. So you'll see these images where it shows you like the Royal Navy on actual recruitment adverts, and you'll see them saying like, "Oh, incoming, blah blah blah," and then you'll show this like giant Gatling gun that'll put like 1,000 rounds a minute in the air, if not more now,
Yeah.
5,000 rounds a minute in the air. So the missiles coming in and they'll spray it into that fucking vicinity of where they think it's going to be. And they are very effective. Unless it's a hypersonic missile, because by the time the device is tracked to where it thinks it's going to be, you're already fucking dead. Because they're traveling at like 3,500 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And they haven't worked out how to sort that cunt out yet. I know they haven't. There's no fucking way. I mean, I'm not saying I'm Mr. Physics or anything, but they literally need to invent a fucking TARDIS in order to sort that out.
The only way they can stop one of those hypersonic missiles is to find out where it's being launched from and kill that. See, once it's on its way, it's going.
And this is why I'm saying about the fire and forget drones, because once they're launched, they're autonomous. They've just got they've got a record, like image processing pattern that they will follow. And I tell you something now, this is the hell of it, right? This, when they talk about people with like fucking, mines and that, which is dreadful, so people where they would mine like Cambodia. That was one of the greatest travesties because, Pol Pot mined loads of Cambodia. And the only people, or the main people, after all of the, after the Khmer had taken over, excuse me, the only people those mines ended up hurting were the Cambodians themselves, because they were the people who were going to step on them without knowing.
Yep.
Because there were uncharted and unknown areas or fields or whatever that were full of them. Well, the problem is with these fucking fire and forget drone things, they've still got that charge in them, yeah? But they've only got a finite amount of time, because the idea is you launch them, they fly like fuck for like 10 minutes, and then, if they haven't hit a target, they just fucking fizzle out. But somebody then goes up and say, oh, look, I've got a little helicopter here, bang, you're fucking dead. So, what's a kid going to do? What's a kid going to do when they see like a drone lying on the floor, like not being touched? Oh, great, that's like a little toy. Bang.
Now, there was a time whenever incendiaries were dropped that looked like toys in order to try to entice kids, particularly to blow them up.
This
is not that nefarious, but it is the exact same thing, because even adults will be intrigued by this fucking drone. I found a drone. This is something that's valuable. That's not good.
Well, no, that's what I mean. It's like, because
I ain't picking up no drone.
Everybody, who are?
I ain't picking up no drone.
Well, no, that's because we know. But if you're a kid, you look at it, you think, oh, well, what a great toy that'll make. And even if there's just a residual amount of battery left, and that proximity sensor detects, oh, look, there's something, could be a rabbit, could be a fucking dog or something as well, because they'll just say, oh, yeah, there's a thermal signature. Oh, boom, you're fucking dead. So there's Tiddle's fucking gone, or there's fucking Bonzo gone, or there's, oh, my lad thought it was a toy, bang, he's fucking smithereens now. It's fucking hateful. I think if they were going to come back to the Geneva Convention, they would stop all of this drone shit. And I mean that across the boards. Like fucking the Americans 3 miles in the air blowing fucking individuals up in Iran or Iraq or wherever. Just take it completely off the board, because not only is it the most ignoble form of combat, it's so fraught with, because this is the way it's sold, isn't it, by these military fucking cunts, basically, the people who propagate wars, the military merchants, the people who want to sell war. These are precision devices. Accuracy is guaranteed. Yeah, but if you've launched 100 devices into the air, yeah, because there's a particular camp here, and there's like 12 insurgents. Let's just say that 50% of them all go, oh yeah, we've identified our top, boom, they're all gone. You've still got 50 of these things lying around where any animal, any person, or any child could just walk up and go, oh, this is interesting, bang, you're dead. Yeah? This is that's the most hateful thing about it, and that's why I was working on the idea of this filament-based counter system where, it just basically fills the sky full of those filaments like what you would see on a taser. And they can be charged or not charged, it doesn't matter. All you need to do is foul the rotary mechanisms. And once you've done that, just they've got these, like I say, as it stands now, they've got those minesweepers, haven't they, where they're like giant bloody JCB trucks with a big set of chains rolling, and they basically drive into these things, let them blow up, but because the armor shielding on those devices is so thick, it doesn't make a dent. And you just do the same thing in those areas, because all we're doing is making a 21st century version of the killing fields in Cambodia. And that's the thing. That's why I didn't want to fucking do that shit, because I was all about defense. For me, it was like sort of, we don't want fucking missiles hitting our ships, or we don't want fucking, we don't want to end up in the same situation that happened on HMS Sheffield. That was that Western lad who got fucking blown up.
Yeah.
Because that image of him, that fucking haunted me.
Well,
and I'm certain that's one of the reasons why I got into that. So defense. And then I found out that you could flip them on the heads and actually turn them into offense. So you could actually use the same mechanism that stops something from detecting something to actually avoid being detected. It's the arms race, isn't it? It's the fucking, it's the arms race. Build a better detection unit, build a better offensive unit. And where does it end? It ends with innocent people dying. That's where it ends. And that's why I hate these fucking warmongering cunts. All of them. All of these fuckers who want to procrastinate what's going on in the Middle East. All of these cunts that want to procrastinate what's going on in Eastern Europe. All of these cunts that procrastinated what was going on in Afghanistan and every fucking where else, that basically meant that they profited of children's fucking deaths. At the end of the day, if you're in the army and you're in the military, you're being demobilized and you're being deployed. The things that they don't talk about is, all of the innocent people, the so-called it's collateral damage. Yeah, but every fucking life that's taken in collateral damage is a family destroyed. Utter fucking cunts. I couldn't sleep at night. That's why I hate every one of those cunts in Westminster. Every single fucking one of them. Because they can sleep easy at night knowing that they are all for procrastinating something that's fucking hateful and evil. And I'd say this now on fucking YouTube, and I've said it several times now, I would happily peer point, all of those cunts and not bat a fucking eyelid. I couldn't kill an animal. I love meat. Nobody loves meat more than me, but I couldn't kill an animal to eat meat. That's the God's honest truth. But I would peer point all of those cunts and not bat not even. I could sound. I tell you what, I'd have the best night's sleep of my fucking life, knowing that. I hate them all. I fucking do. That's how much I hate those cunts. Sorry, mate. Sorry for being a bit dark there, but
I've got the perfect follow-up to that. I'm going to play this. It's been talked about in the chat tonight, so I'm going to play it.
Yeah, please do, mate.
Share screen. Here we go. How's that came up?
Burden by Rudyard Kipling. Take up the white man's burden. Send forth the best ye breed. Go bind your sons to exile, to serve your captives' need. To wait in heavy harness, on fluttered folk and wild, your new caught sullen peoples, half devil and half child. Take up the white man's burden, in patience to abide, to veil the threat of terror, and to check the show of pride. By open speech and simple, 100 times made plain, to seek another's profit and work another's gain. Take up the white man's burden, the savage wars of peace, fill full the mouth of famine, and bid the sickness cease. And when your goal is nearest, the end for others sought, watch sloth and heathen folly, bring all your hopes to naught. Take up the white man's burden, no tawdry rule of kings, but toil of serf and sweeper, the tale of common things. The ports ye shall not enter, the roads ye shall not tread. Go make them with your living, and mark them with your dead. Take up the white man's burden, and reap his old reward. The blame of those ye better, the hate of those ye guard. The cry of hosts ye humour, slowly towards the light. Why brought ye us from bondage, our loved Egyptian night? Take up the white man's burden, ye dare not stoop to less, nor call too loud on freedom, to cloak your weariness. By all ye cry or whisper, by all ye leave or do, the silent, sullen peoples shall weigh your gods and you. Take up the white man's burden, have done with childish days, the lightly proffered laurel, the easy, ungrudged praise, comes now to search your manhood through all the thankless years, cold-edged with dear-brought wisdom, the judgment of your peers.
There you go. That was a bit of Roger Kipling and the White Man's Burden. I didn't realize it was fucking Sargon of Akkad doing the recital. And Brad, for the record, whenever I heard it, I was like, "Oh fuck!" But it was just the first one that it came to. But it's a very good poem.
Later on, a reading from Tommy Robinson.
What?
Later on, a reading from Tommy Robinson.
Oh God, no! What would he even read?
I don't know.
Saying, yeah, the white man's burden. Yeah, yeah. You know, it's like. Sorry, Tommy. Shouldn't once again? Yeah, think of him what you will. Think of him what you will. But he is a political prisoner. I don't give a fuck what anybody says.
Oh, here, like him or not, there's no way he should be imprisoned the way he is. Like none. And this is also several times that he's been in prison, and there's been a lot of other people that's been in prison on other scurrilous reasons, and it is disgusting what they're doing with your legal system.
Yeah, like I say, I mean, he is the epitome of a political prisoner. Now, you know, whatever history you want to read into that or not, the current regime sees him as a threat. Like I say, there's a reason why they are currently, the security services are gearing up for summer. And how are they training? Are they training to try and stop Mo and his fiddlers? No. Are they training to stop the Stabtastic group? No. They're actually training where the antagonists are wearing fucking George crosses.
Yep.
What does that tell you? It tells you that the regime don't give a fucking two shakes of a monkey's toss about Mo or Ntembe. What they really care about is dissent against the regime. They're really fucking scared that we might actually want to take back what they've taken from us. But they've got all the toys, haven't they? That's the problem, you know? They've got all the toys, so they can do whatever the fuck they want. Tony Blair's digital ID. It's we've got to get that through the post straight away, because combined with that digital ID, we noticed, Sensum, that that anonymous poll that you had about the government, you had a very dim view of, the anonymous poll. It's like Dilbert, isn't it? That anonymous poll that you had a very dim view of the government.
You're better off with it. You're better off with a poll that's not anonymous, because then at least you know.
But what I'm saying is, they want to, the digital ID will be, that's related to your bank account. You've been a naughty boy by dissenting against the fucking illegitimate regime, which it is now, because a government, call me simple, call me stupid, but the democracy, demos, is for the people. The vast majority of the people don't want what's happening to this country right now, whether it's the woke bullshit, whether it's immigration. They do want mass deportation. That's no fucking joke there, including all the fucking Labour. 50-odd% of Labour want the deportations to happen. Yeah? So if you've got a regime in place that is doing the absolute opposite that the vast majority of people want them to actually do, then they are an illegitimate regime. And they know they're fucking illegitimate. But rather than turn around and say, maybe we should start doing what people want, which would what democracy would dictate, they say, no, let's stifle any form of fucking dissent. Let's make all of the people's lives who point out how shit we fucking are, let's make their lives just that little bit fucking worse or unbearable and intolerable. Yeah, because this is the cacistocracy that we want. And fuck you, cunts. Just keep paying the fucking taxes and shut your fucking mouth. How long does it take before the worm turns? How long does it take before you end up in a position where, like in fucking Romania of the late 1980s, how long does it take before they get Ceausescu'd? Do you know what I mean? That's why all this shit has to be rushed in now, because with a digital ID comes with, you can't bank. Your digital ID now says you can't buy food. You can't get water. We're not going to supply gas or electricity to your house because your digital ID says that you're, as far as fucking cunt-face wank stain Dame Neil Stalin thinks, you're the fucking enemy. No. We are the real actual people of these lands, and you're the fucking traitor. You're the cunt that needs to be fucking exposed of, metaphorically in Minecraft. You need to be serving a sentence in jail for your fucking treachery against the people of these lands. That's the reality of the fucking situation. But no, what'll actually happen is it'll be like
a very long tradition of free speech in this country.
Well, we're not, are we? We're not allowed. We're not allowed. We're not allowed free speech, are we? Yeah. So.
Yeah.
This is why they're amazed. This is this thing that gets me. But they're not amazed. They know that it exists. This is why they're like, quick, let's push this adolescence thing. This far right bullshit. No,
oh fuck,
it's fucking. First of all, it was, let's flip the demographics and you'd be halfway there. Second of all, the gynocentric nature of the West as it's become now, and this feminist addled West is, anything at all, that's masculine, is seen to be hateful. But when there's a fucking war on the offing, who's the first fucking recruits that Dame Neil Stalin wants? Right, you white lads, quick, line up to fight my war. No, do you know what, you cunt, you absolute fucking cunt, you can fuck off. Yeah, I've already said, my lad was saying to me that, I said, to tell you something now, you're not going to war. Well, if they do conscription, I said, yeah, fuck them. Tell me you're a conscientious objector. Right? And he said, what?
my advice to any young man is to get yourself into the territorial army and do a minimum of 4 years in the logistics corps or in the catering corps or something that works behind the lines, behind our lines.
No.
Because
I've told
honestly,
my lad. I know
hear
what's
me,
happening.
hear me out.
Yeah, go on.
See whenever it gets to the stage where they are throwing everybody into the front line, they will be grabbing people off the street to give them their 6 weeks training and put them into the front line.
Yeah.
Now, in order for those people to function at all, they need the lorry drivers, they need the people that move the ammunition, they need the people that move the casualties about, they need the cooks, they need the field hospitals, they need all of that stuff. And that is a safe job. And if you have been in the territorial army doing one of those jobs at the back, you're not going to the front line. When this goes down, have yourself a non-front line job inside that fucking army because it's the only way you're going to survive.
Well, no, because all I will say is this, and I would say this to any young man that might be eligible in that age group, is just tell them no. Just say no, I'm not fucking doing it. I'm not doing it. Right, well, we'll throw you in prison. If it came to that, and my lad was thrown in prison, I'd visit him every fucking single day, and I would be the proudest father in the world.
They will not throw them in prison.
What? So basically, what do you think they're going to do? Do you think they'll kill them?
No, they'll put them into the army. They'll start off.
But the thing is, this is it. You see, because if you just tell them, no, just stand there, don't do anything, don't follow orders, don't do anything. You get beaten up, you'll do whatever. Don't do what they want to do. You'll be fucking useless to them because you're not even going to pick up a fucking gun. So they'll put them in prison. And like I say, I will be the proudest father on this planet because I'll visit him every single day. Now, what you're forgetting is 42 is, the only thing, not all, but women in general are for rights and that for women. That's just the way it is. You start fucking with their kids, especially their sons. You don't want that mama bear fucking energy on your fucking case. Yeah? Because we saw that happen in America and they fucking went through those cunts like rats through a fucking tunnel. Yeah? If you wanna G up a society, take men from their mothers, yeah, and see how that plays out. Now, Ukraine, no idea what's going on there. But
I know exactly what's going on there.
But I tell you something now. Anybody tries that shit in this country, yeah, the men may get beaten, the men may get killed, but the women won't fucking stand for it, because this is illegitimate. What? Okay, you want me to join your army? What is the fucking purpose? Well, I need you to fight a war that's nothing to fucking do with you, thousands of miles away. How about no? I'll join your army if you want me to stand on the fucking Kent coastline and blow the fuck out of any cunt that wants to try and get into my country without being fucking invited. How's about that for a game of tomatoes? Oh, no, we couldn't possibly do that. Well, you know what, Dame Neil Starling? Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. And go and take your wife back to her fucking country in the Middle East, you cunt. Anyway, that's just... Anyway, should we have a nice story? Because, this is getting a bit dark now. Let's have a nice story. Let's have a good story.
Yes, yeah. And we'll round it off after this one, I think, because it's getting a bit late.
Here we go, because it's getting a bit late. But I thought this was a nice one. This is Prostate Cancer UK. Lee Westwood lines up sporting stars back in the big golf race. So it's golf, but it's also for Prostate Cancer UK, which is always a good thing to do, because it is.
Yep.
It is a major killer amongst men. You know, it also goes quite undetected for a long time. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those sort of creeps up on you type of illnesses. And as an all-star cast of supporting heroes come on board for the big golf race, there's even more reasons to hit the course for good cause in this summer and help us drive real change for men affected by prostate cancer. Lee Westwood, lovely lad from Nottinghamshire. I've met him a couple of times. Real card of a lad, good lad. He's got his little video here. I don't know, should I play it? Will it let me play it without a fucking...
Go for it.
I hope so.
Calling all golfers, Prostate Cancer UK needs your help.
Why don't you join Prostate Cancer and support the big golf race?
Challenge yourself to take on 36, 72
or more holes this June.
Go the distance on the golf course
to save men's lives.
Support Prostate Cancer UK to drive life-saving research
and funds towards an amazing charity to help
create a future where early diagnosis saves lives.
Challenge yourself to 72 holes or more in a day this June.
Grab your clubs, round up your mates.
Go the distance to save men's lives.
Sign up now, please. Thank you.
That's really good to see.
Yeah, so there you go. So, British sporting legend Lee Westwood is calling all golfers across the UK to take on the big golf race this summer to help save men's lives. The former world number one, considered one of Britain's most successful ever golfers, is leading the charge for 2025, with several other huge sporting names also coming on board to get behind the race. This has actually been a thing that's been going on for a long time. It's just only getting recognition now. I first heard about this probably around about 10 years ago, and it was called the Dusk Till Dawn Challenge. And the idea was to play 4 rounds of golf on the longest day of the year in June, so the 22nd of June, all in order of a charity which preceded the prostate cancer. Well, not preceded, but before prostate cancer was a thing, and it was always done towards. It was always for these kind of things like men's health issues, that kind of thing. So, you know, it's really it's good to see that it's becoming bigger and bigger,
and getting mainstream.
Yeah.
It's it's not that long ago there was articles being put out about November being very right wing because it was talking about men's health and testicular cancer, and it's really good to see this getting a bit of popular support. Need to park it. Oh, there is such a thing as free speech, but you don't get your exercises just exactly anyway. Why do they block you? Because you're talking about shite that we are not talking about. That's why. Because you're a dick. And you're getting blocked again. You're in a timeout.
What was he going? What was he ruffling on about?
Oh, he was giving. He's just a dickhead. Giving all about those Irish people. Seems he and I disagree. But there you go.
Parkgate.
And he's back. But anyway, yes, it is good to see it. That we're actually getting proper publicity for that, and some stars are actually coming out and getting behind it, and that charity, the prostate cancer one, is doing very good work, and they're also heavily involved with the Premier League.
Yeah.
I said Anglo, 42's house, 42's rules.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. Anything else, gentlemen?
No. I think we pretty much covered everything. It was great to have Al on, and it's been great to have Packer on as always. But I'm sorry to the people who normally watch this channel, because we do try and keep it quite light, but I am horrifically offended by how much shit the demons, the kakistocracy in charge are doing to our nation, and it's so horrible and it's so fucking awful that you have to speak out. I don't want. Put it this way: I don't want a 21st century version of shit like the killing fields of Cambodia.
Yeah.
I really don't want that to happen. And yet, as far as the regime's concerned, I'm the bad person. Make that make sense. That's all I'll say, folks. If you can square the circle on that one, then you've got a better fucking etch-a-sketch than me, because I couldn't fucking do it.
Yeah, well, the other thing, Sensum, is you don't stream anywhere near as often as you used to. And whenever you were streaming more regular, it was very easy to be lighthearted once a month for a while. And tonight we've covered some things that are a bit more serious than we normally do in this stream, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles, and it's going to be like that sometimes.
Yeah, and I mean, if you think this has been a bit risky, then please feel free to private it. You know what I mean?
God, no, it's staying.
But
this will be staying up.
It's just, I don't know, and I'm sorry, Packy, you seem to have drawn the short straw here, but you're a great lad. I appreciate what I love your streams with Chris. I mean, if I knew when he was streaming, I'd join more often. Do you know what I mean? It's just that I never fucking know. It's just one of those things. It's just I cannot abide. This is why I picked that name, Sensum Communem. It means common sense in Latin. I can't abide shit that doesn't make any sense. It fucking addles me. It really does. And
the only way society today makes sense is if it's being done on purpose.
Yeah, exactly. And this is what I'm trying to say. And they say, oh, hateful right-wing-ist and, Nazi and all this bullshit. I don't want any family or child anywhere in the world to suffer, the unnecessary loss of a family member. That goes globally. I don't care if that's somebody in Africa. I don't care if that's somebody in Asia. I don't care if it's in South America or North America or in Europe. I don't want people to needlessly lose loved ones when they didn't have to. Yeah? But because we're on the wrong side of the fence, we're the bad people. We're not. We're the realists. We know the cost of these things. And all of these cunts in Westminster, Stormont, Holyrood, Cardiff, that will never ever understand the brunt of the decisions that they're making. Yeah? That's why they can so blithely make all these decisions and say all these things. Because it won't be their fucking children that get sent to the front lines, will it? They'll be the protected ones. They'll get the little pass out by saying, oh yes, well, during XYZ, my son did this and my son did that. If it's in the States, my son served in the Navy. When they said he served in the Navy, he was an administrator in the Presidio in San Francisco. Or he was a fucking instructor in fucking West Point Military Academy. Never did a fucking boot on the ground outside of the United States. And similarly the same over here. All of those cunts will be saying, oh yes, well he served in this one here. And they've got ships. They call them ships, but they're actually buildings which are on the coast in Portsmouth. Yep. They're called HMS whatever. They're not even a fucking ship. Oh yes, well he served in HMS Concrete fucking Village at the bottom of Dorset.
It's in Israeli. They call the naval base. The naval base. The HMS Riley. He serves in Riley. Fuck off.
But they won't even say that. They'll say, yes, well, he's during that particular conflict, he served, because obviously these fuckers are nepotistic, aren't they? Yeah. So, matey boy, you put the fucking chestnuts in the fire. He'll be saying like sort of, oh yes, my son said, and then he'll fucking die, but then their resurrected spawn will come up to be the next prime minister. Yes, and I know how hard conflict will be because during that particular conflict, you never got from behind a fucking desk because you're a cunt. There's a reason why Fortunate Son became a popular anthem from Creedence Clearwater Revival in the 60s, because if you listen to the lyrics to that, and it says, what is it, hail to the chief and all that, it ain't me, I'm not a senator's son. So in other words, basically, senators' sons didn't go to fucking war.
No,
they served in the military, but they didn't go to fucking war. You know what I mean? They were all ensconced off to little soft jobs in military bases within the United States. Yeah? Fucking disgraceful. In fact, if there is going to be another conflict, I think there should be a law that's put in place that says everybody from Westminster, Holyrood, Stormont and Cardiff, your sons go fucking first. Your sons and daughters goes first, and when they've run out of them, we might consider it. Although we should go, no, we're not going to bother actually. You put your fucking legacies on the fucking line. If it's that important to you, you put your fucking legacies on the line. And will they do it? Will they fuck? Because they're all fucking cowards that hide behind the fucking, the machinations of the state that affords them to hide away and to be fucking cowards. Absolute cunts. I'm sorry, mate. I hate them all.
Right. I think with that, I'm going to play the Anglo-Saxon. We'll call it a wrap.
Great
that was
stuff.
That was quite a good rant, Sensum. Thank you very much. By the way, this is going to be left up. I don't think there's anything being said here we need to run away from, so it's going to stay.
I'd like to say I've hated everything that's happened since 1997. In general, the world hasn't got any better since then, only worse.
Do you think it was still getting better in 97?
I'm unsure.
When did we all get mobile phones?
Do you think that was it? Another show, perhaps.
Yeah, because I think the last really big change in society was whenever we all got mobile phones, and therefore you could phone exactly the person that you thought you were going to get. And I think it changed the dynamics of families and everything.
Yeah. I still find it a little bit rude when people ring me in my pocket.
Well, it's not just that. It's prior to that, whenever the phone was in the hall and everybody had to start in the same place, there was no such thing as private communication. Private communication for the masses began with the mobile phone. Outside of where you could physically walk up to somebody and talk to them. And I don't know if it got better or worse since then. No? Yes?
Like I say, I don't know, but about 1997. I think that's when texts and that started, wasn't it? Somewhere around then.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking in general. But that's when I was in my late 20s. You know what I mean? I started doing things that had responsibility and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. There's natural changes there.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else before I hit this outro? Nope. Oh, there's a lad. What about you, chump?
You going to bed? No.
Here we go. This is the Anglo-Saxon. Hopefully it all works. Where are we?
Nice one.
And I'll put the messages up on the screen, obviously.
Hello, you're listening to 42's letter to the Anglo-Saxons. When you spread this message, you are the resistance. The Anglo-Saxon. The Anglo-Saxon shook his head sharply, his hair dislodging droplets of sweat from the back of his neck, the produce of moving a carcass to the workbench. The sharpened blades and cleavers felt natural in his hand. The carcass divided to his will. The Anglo-Saxon's muscle memory was that of a warrior. His body was lost to the toil, but his mind wandered to memories that were not his own. An intruder startled the Anglo-Saxon. However, before him was not the meadows and glades of his ancestors, but a butcher's shop window. While politely serving the customer, the Anglo-Saxon mourned the loss of a kingdom he had never known, of the rituals and customs that were lost long before his grandparents were even born. Outside, the street was a bustle. He knew there were others like him, ones who carried the warrior's pride. Amongst them he would find the rightful place of an Anglo-Saxon. The Anglo-Saxon.
It was not preached to the crowd, it was not taught by the state. No man spoke it aloud when the Anglo-Saxons began to hate. It was not suddenly bred, it will not swiftly abate. Through the chill years ahead, when the time shall count from the date that the Anglo-Saxons began to hate. When time shall count from the date the Anglo-Saxons began to hate.
Game over.
Fuck's sake. Okay, everybody. I've been 42. Sensum has been Sensum, and you lot in the chat have, as always, been fucking amazing. Thank you. Good night. God bless. I'm out of here. See you all next week. Goodbye.